Hi, this is Rekka, and I'm Gabby. Join us all summer long as we're on the hunt for local businesses and amazing hidden gems in our beautiful cities of Edmonton and Fort McMurray, which this totally isn't. Tune in, because this is RNG in the 780.
All right. Hi guys, I'm R from RNG in the 780, Rekka, and I'm here today with Titi to talk about her jewelry business here in Edmonton. So Titi, would you mind introducing yourself for everyone?
Okay, my name is Titi Thi, and I am the owner of Tikkhu Jewelry, which is an Edmonton-based jewelry company.
Awesome. So Titi and I met. We've got some Oilers fans here quite excited and celebrating our beloved hockey team, which is awesome. But back to you, Titi. So what was I asking again? Something about, oh my gosh. Oh yeah, so Titi and I met while I was shopping in a market on White Ave. And a friend of mine was in town, so her and I were trying to shop around specifically local businesses. And we literally just like turned an alleyway and there was this beautiful like open space with all these vendors there, and Titi was there with her beautiful jewelry. One piece I'm wearing right now is the one with the pink pearl because it matches a pink coat that I ended up thrifting as well. So yeah, can you tell us a little bit about yourself specifically? Like, how did you get here?
So I got here because of COVID, actually. So I'm a registered nurse. I've been nursing for 13 years now.
Wow.
And when COVID hit, I was really afraid. Like most people, we didn't really know what this virus was going to do to us. Mm-hmm. And I work in plastic surgery, so my unit became the official COVID unit. So I was really frightened. So I started looking for new jobs. I really wasn't sure if that's where I wanted to be. Mm-hmm. So I got a temporary position swabbing as a community tester. So we just tested for COVID at an assessment center. And that kind of job was like a 9 to 5, pretty predictable, not much could go wrong. So it gave me a chance to actually focus on this idea of having my own jewelry business. And now the rest is history.
That's amazing. So how long, so like how many years then approximately? So like during or?
So I launched my online business November 11th, 2020.
Wow.
So just hit my 1.5 year anniversary.
Oh, that's awesome. Congratulations.
Thank you.
I'm so glad that you ended up doing jewelry because like you've got some beautiful pieces and I want to know what inspired you specifically for jewelry.
So I've done a lot of traveling in my younger days. Mm-hmm. So I get a lot of inspiration from my previous travels or just experiences in general. So I try and portray that through my jewelry. Mm-hmm. But my jewelry business, actually, the idea of it came about 6 years ago. So I did Everest Base Camp in Nepal, and everything was beautiful. I was surrounded by the Himalayas, and everything was beautiful, including the rocks on the ground. I actually collected a few rocks from the ground that looked like quartz to me.
Oh, really?
Like it shimmered in the light. You're not supposed to take the rocks, but I took the rocks. I took a few rocks and I was like, I'm going to turn this into a memory because this is like the most surreal experience and I want to remember it forever. Mm-hmm. So I filled my pockets up with a few rocks, and that's kind of where the idea of Tikkhu came to life. I did a few trips to like Mexico and other places where there's kind of those bohemian hippie jewelry makers where they would wrap stones in wire. And so that's where I got the inspiration. But I never really pulled the trigger. Being a nurse, it's hard to kind of have two things going at once. But I've always had the idea, and so COVID was actually a good thing for me because it allowed me to focus on this and really see what potential I had in a completely different industry.
That's awesome. I noticed that a lot of your jewelry is mostly like gold looking. Can you talk about like the materials that you use for that?
Yeah, so everything I make is gold plated or gold filled, which is a newer collection that I've just released, and that's just for more longevity.
Oh wow.
Yeah, so I just like gold. I feel like it makes everyone look better. It brings out our tans, and I just like gold. I do have some like silver enthusiasts that are really wanting more, but I just can't fully commit to that. I have something with gold that I just love.
Oh, I love gold personally.
Yeah.
I mean, if you can't tell, I do love gold colors for sure personally, especially in the summertime. It's just like absolutely gorgeous. What do you normally do with your goods? Like where do you sell?
So my business started in my spare bedroom of my condo, and I have definitely outgrown that space.
Yeah.
But it was really nice. I was recently married right before I launched my business, actually, and my husband came to Canada and is living with me now. So it was really nice to be able to work from home on the side on this little project. But as things grew, it got a little bit messy. So now I'm so happy to announce I have my own studio space, which is just right around the corner from here.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah.
Lovely. Can people visit that studio space? Is that where?
They could if they wanted to. It's not advertised as a retail space. Okay. It's more so a studio space where I can create, fulfill orders, and kind of store all of my things.
Okay, awesome. So like what would be like the best way to like find your jewelry then?
So I have over 10 stockists. One's in BC, the rest are Edmonton and surrounding areas. But the main one's Kingsway Mall. There's a store called Unite, which is all local businesses. So it's actually the old Victoria's Secret. You know how they had little booths? So each booth is a business. So we just rent a booth in that space, and then people can come and shop there.
Oh, that's awesome.
And it's awesome. So Edmonton has been really great for the whole support local movement. So that's an amazing store if you are a support local type of person to discover a bunch of new businesses.
Yeah, oh, that's great. Like, what have you noticed about like the trend specifically? Do you think it was mostly like pandemic, or what do you think people like really, like what drives people towards local business, do you think?
I think supporting local came a little bit before the pandemic, but then with the pandemic, with all of the struggles, people really emphasized the importance of it. And so I feel very fortunate that I started when I did, because it really propelled me forward. I mean, I don't know how to do ads or any of that stuff. And I've gotten to where I am with just organic reach on Instagram.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's really amazing, like the power of social media. Like sometimes I'm kind of hard on myself with social media, and I just want to unplug completely. But it is really amazing that you can reach people from all around the world.
Oh yeah, definitely.
For free from your phone.
Yeah, exactly. So I think you ship worldwide, right?
I do. I don't get too many international orders. I actually think most of my orders come from Edmonton.
Oh, awesome.
So I feel like I started in Edmonton, and I never really went viral on the internet. So most of my orders are like Edmonton surrounding areas, and then I get a few from Toronto, Vancouver, Calgary. But yeah, I have done a few orders to Australia and a few places in Europe, which is exciting but also stressful because I don't know if it's going to make it there.
Yeah, exactly. The long trip, especially like during the pandemic, I'm sure that like shipments would have been difficult probably even. Yeah. Well, you did mention a little bit about like your travels. Could you tell them about where the name of your business comes from?
Okay, so my brand is called Tikkhu Jewelry, so pronounced Tikkhu. Most people struggle with it, and I kind of beat myself up about that too, that it's like a name that people can't pronounce. So my name is Titi, obviously, and then Khumbu is a place in Nepal. So I did base camp 6 years ago, and Khumbu is the region that you hike through to get to the base of the mountain. So it's just a made-up word, and it's based off of me and the place that inspired me to have this business.
Awesome. What did you do to like prepare for that base camp?
Oh, so I was on the treadmill a lot for months and months. I would do hills. Really, it was just like strength and endurance training. And yeah, it was fine. I don't think I could do it now, but it was a really amazing experience. I would recommend it to anyone.
That's awesome. What did that experience mean to you?
So The experience was a challenge. It was a personal challenge. Can I do this? This was like mental and physical. But it was also about like the relationships that I developed with my friends that I went with, and also with the people of that country. It was just a really special experience. The Nepalese people are some of the kindest people I've ever met, and you can just feel the warmth in their community.
That's
so
awesome.
It was just special. It meant a lot to me, and I think traveling in general gives me a lot of inspiration, because you see where different people are in their lives and what opportunities they have, and you really get to see the beauty in different places of the world.
Yeah.
So that's what it means to me.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So like, are there any specific designs that are inspired by specific like experiences or travels that you've had so far?
So all of my jewelry, I think has a story to it. So
Yes.
most pieces, besides like the minimal like classic hoops or classic chains, have a story to them. So they're things that interest me, or things that, you know, have been a part of my life in some way or another, and then translated into a piece of jewelry. So if it's like a basic chain that doesn't really have inspiration, I do have inspiration in the name of it.
Okay.
So everything is like kind of like a project in a sense. So down to like the photography, the naming, where the name came from, there is a story to it. And the cool thing about the storytelling is that I have a story that attaches to most of my pieces. But the cool thing to me is that other people relate to those items and tell their own stories through them, which is cool to me.
Yeah, I think that when I was picking this out, I think that you had told me something about this pearl.
Okay.
Where it
It's
comes
from the Philippines.
From the Philippines.
Yeah, so I am a hoarder as well, which is one of my toxic traits. I collect everything, including rocks that I'm not supposed to take. But yes, those pearls are from the Philippines, from a trip that I did probably 8 years ago. But yeah, I collect seashells, all sorts of things, with the idea that I will turn it into something, but not everything makes the cut. But yeah, everything has a story. And I just really love that people can tell their own stories through them, and also just feel beautiful. It's a very rewarding industry, and I didn't ever think that I would feel this rewarding experience from it. I don't really know what I expected from it. I didn't expect to grow the way that I did, and it's all happening very quickly. But it's really amazing. Like I feel like nursing is a great profession. It's very respected. You know, you go home feeling like you really helped people. And so I wasn't really sure what the entrepreneurial business would be like, but I do feel like I feel rewarding feelings from this in such different ways, and I'm so happy that I adventured into this realm.
Yeah, I was really excited when I got to meet you, and even you just mentioning that the pearl was from the Philippines. I was like, my mom's in the Philippines right now.
Oh, it was meant to be.
Yes, I was so excited because I'm half Filipino.
Oh, okay.
So that was especially exciting for me, and having like a little piece of like heritage that wasn't like for me, I like to collect things as well.
Yeah.
So if I find something, if I find seashells, like there's a very good chance I will put them. I'm not supposed to do these things, but I will do them. So, you know, don't at me. But I have a really bad knack for that. It's not okay. But when I saw this pearl, I was like, I need to have this, because I've always asked my mom for pearls, to bring back pearls. She brought back pearls this time. And I was like, they just need to like match this.
Oh,
so I can like
amazing.
layer them and have like earrings and like a bracelet and all that kind of stuff. I was just so excited. But yeah, I showed my mom and she was like, oh, that's so pretty. And I was like, yes, I know, it's perfect. Like what is your cultural background, if you don't mind me asking?
So I'm a first generation Vietnamese.
Okay, awesome. Does any of your heritage, like, do you find any of it coming through into your line at all?
I don't think that there's anything that's Vietnamese in my line. No, I don't. I actually don't think that my heritage comes through. I think being a person of color, I feel very fortunate that I haven't really dealt with any barriers in my business. I'm really happy that there's awareness towards supporting people of color who are starting business endeavors. But I feel like I've been so lucky. I've never felt any disadvantages being a woman or being a person of color with my ability to carry my business forward. But it is so amazing that there is so much awareness around that now.
That's awesome. I love that. Should we then maybe look at some of your pieces and we
Sure.
can talk about it?
Oh, okay, we're gonna talk about it.
Okay, we'll talk about some pieces. What about your first piece? How did you feel about like finally doing it, just jumping in?
So I've been wanting to do this for years and years, and I always found reasons to kind of put things off. The biggest thing was writing my bio, which I don't know who reads it, probably not.
We did.
Yeah,
we did.
Yeah, you had to do your research, but I don't know how many people read it, but I fixated on it for months. That was like the one part about my website that I needed to like kind of finalize, and I put it off for so long because I didn't know how to put what I was doing into words. And then when I had that down, I was like, I need professional photos. There were always these little barriers that I created for myself that kind of told me I wasn't ready. But then setting a date was really important because it kind of kept me accountable to doing it. And then after that, I think if I have any advice for anyone who is thinking of having a business is to just start. I heard it a million times before I did it. But it truly is like the best piece of advice that I could give, because no matter how perfect you think it needs to be on your launch, you're going to change it 1,000,001 times after that.
That's definitely the key there, is like just make it happen.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Just do it. I thought it was perfect when I launched, and now when I see like my packaging or anything from like last year, I cringe.
Really? No.
I do. I truly do.
I even have the little bag. It's so pretty.
The bag is cute.
Yeah.
I think just like my packaging itself has evolved so many times, and now looking back at the ones where I used to handwrite what each one was called, it's nice to see the progression, but I definitely cringe looking at the old stuff. But it's good.
Yeah.
That means I'm growing, and it's good.
It's always good to see where you started and where you ended up, right? I mean, like, what was your vision in the beginning? Did you think you would get this far? Like, where did you see yourself going with this?
I didn't think that, I don't really know what I thought. This was a side hustle, but now it's definitely the main hustle. I'm currently not working as a nurse right now, dealing with medical issues right now. So I've really been able to just focus on the business, and it's been crazy. Like, I think I need to hire help soon, which is really amazing.
That's awesome.
Yes, I have growing pains, which for me is hard. I think I'm quite frugal. So for me to outsource someone to do something that I can do is really tough, but I've gotten past that because now I've realized that time is money. There's not enough hours in the day for me to do everything that I need to do, and it just really helps me to have someone else there now.
Plus, getting to enjoy your summer or just enjoy your time in general.
Yeah.
Like, I'm sure that there's a lot that you have to like do as a businesswoman, right?
It doesn't stop. Like it truly never stops.
Once you start working for yourself, I've seen a lot of memes. Once you start working for yourself, it's like
it's like you quit your 9 to 5 to work 24/7, and it is so accurate.
That's amazing.
My brain never stops. But it's good. It's a good problem to have, but it's definitely, there's days where I'm like, I wish I could just lay down and not think about anything right now.
Yeah. What does a day in your life look like typically?
So it's pretty sporadic. I am not a person of routine. My husband is the complete opposite. He's very regimented, and that's why we're so compatible. He brings out organization and patterns in me, which have helped me with my business. I definitely have felt a lot of growth personally with my way of living, but previously being a shift worker, you really don't have a routine. You're working days, you're working nights, you're not sleeping, there never really was a routine, and that kind of is how my business is. Some days I wake up really early and try and get things done, at the office before, life gets busy. Yeah. But sometimes I put things off till 10 o'clock at night before I start doing anything. But a day in the life, walk my dog, make my coffee. Social media is a huge part of having a business. well, my business in particular, it was mainly online based. So social media is a huge part, and it definitely sucks a lot of time out of my days.
Yeah.
It's sometimes I feel like I need to set limits because it's like a vortex. I go on my phone to post something and then I get distracted and then I forget what I'm there to do in the first place. And what else? Yeah, going to the office, fulfilling orders, prepping for stores. I have 3 really busy locations, so it just feels like I'm constantly replenishing and then filling orders in between.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
that's great to hear.
Yeah, thank you.
Do you find that like you're always trying to adapt, or is this has just become, all right, this is what the day is?
No, I'm always trying to adapt. I feel like technology is crazy.
Yeah.
I feel like an old person on TikTok trying to learn how to TikTok. Because when I first heard of TikTok, I'm like, I'm not going on TikTok. Like, I'm not dancing to the music or lip syncing. Like, this is not what I'm doing. But TikTok is really amazing because this platform can push out to hundreds of thousands of millions of people. So I'm always learning. It's challenging at times, but it's also really rewarding. It's rewarding to put out a piece of content and see how far it can go. So I made a really random video about packaging. It was not, I wouldn't say it was like a work of art. It was so silly. But it got 4.4 million views.
Oh, that's awesome.
And so I was like addicted at that point. I'm like, whoa, my brand can be like out there. People in Australia, all over the world wanting to see my stuff. The problem is it had nothing to do with my product. It had to do with packaging. So my TikTok needs some work.
Well, people like to see like how does it work, how things are done. It's really like, for me, I can get lost just watching people do their thing.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
If they're boxing things up, if they're making something, that's one of my favorite things, is watching people make their jewelry. Like how is your jewelry made, if you don't mind me asking?
So I don't do any metal smithing or melting. It's all quite basic what I do. More so, I would say that my talent lies in curating or having a vision of something and bringing it to life. So there's nothing really technical about what I do. It's, cutting a chain, attaching a jump ring, matching the hoop to the charm. There's really not anything too crazy about it. It's more so just having that vision and bringing it to life.
I watch those videos still though.
Oh, amazing.
I love those kind of videos. I'll see someone like just literally take 2 very simple objects and put them together and my mind is blown. That's it. I'm gonna watch more of that content over and over and over again, and I lose it. I've noticed that your photo shoots are absolutely beautiful.
Oh,
and
thank
amazing.
you.
I see a lot of local ladies in there.
Yes.
How do you like find your vision for those?
Honestly, I don't know. I just have a vision in my head and then I go to the thrift store and find pieces to create a scene. So one of my first professional launches was last year. It was called the Breakfast Club. And so I wanted it to be very vintage vibes in nature with the gold jewelry. So that was the vision. I hired my friend who's also a nurse, but a very talented photographer. His name is Jose Aquino. And yeah, we made it happen. The lighting was perfect and everything was purchased from Value Village, and the girls dressed themselves, did their own makeup, and they look like 10 out of 10 celebrities.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
What is that your favorite shoot to date, or what would be your favorite one?
I think they're all amazing. I do a lot of the photography on my own because as a small business, you don't really have a huge budget to outsource those types of things. So I've only done 2 legit ones. The rest were just me with my camera pretending I knew what I was doing.
No, that's awesome.
But I don't know, I think they were both really special. They were both different. The second shoot that I did, I really tried to have an inclusive audience, and it was a really beautiful production. It was more stressful on my part, coordinating more bodies, but they were both really special in their own ways.
Oh, that's awesome. That's beautiful. I wonder all the time what goes into those kind of shoots. Like, I always want to see the behind the scenes. Like probably one of the most exciting things is watching them get the lighting done.
Okay.
Because it's like watching people's faces just light up, and then it's
Yeah.
like you see the models just like, yes, love me, and I'm like, yes, work it, please. I love it. It's amazing. So like, do you ever find that like collaborations are like a must when you're trying to figure out what to do, or is this just something that just brews in your brain?
I love collaborations. In terms of the photo shoot, I think the photographer has a vision, but he asked me what mine is. I'm pretty free-flowing. I don't always have any details down at all. I kind of just get people to show up, and it just happens, and it's worked out really well. But I would say it is a collaborative effort between the photographer and I, and then the models. I mean, I kind of just trust their judgment. If they feel beautiful, they will look beautiful. So I just go with that. I do not plan. I feel like I need to pinch myself sometimes because there was really not a lot of elaborate planning on my end. It kind of just like happened, and then opportunities started presenting themselves, and then people started sharing it, and then all of a sudden this store wants it, another store wants it, and it really, and I also learned you just need to take every opportunity because you never know what's going to happen after that. And sometimes things they don't work out the way that you would expect to. So that is one lesson that I have to my old self 1 year ago with having this business, is maybe to consider each opportunity a little bit more thoroughly before impulsively deciding, because sometimes people's opinions or the way they run their business don't align with you. Yeah. But then you're like, oh, it's helping my business. I have this exposure. But sometimes you need to like step outside of that. If you don't align with that person, or you don't feel like you have respect with those people, then you need to cut it off. If you cut those people off from your life, you can just grow in other ways. And so to my old self, I would say just to be a little bit more careful in agreeing to some things, because life's too short to have relationships where people don't respect you or you don't align with them.
No, exactly. I've definitely learned that myself.
Yeah.
So it's nice to work with people that just like make you want to grow in like the best way as well. Otherwise, I wouldn't be here either.
Yeah.
I would be doing something very different, or still be doing what I used to do as a student. I'm still a student, but it is what it is, you know? So can we maybe look at some of your favorite pieces here? Maybe we can...
Sure.
Let's go.
So I brought a little bit of everything. So these are my zodiac necklaces. They're called Archetype, and so they're the 12 zodiac signs, and they're just like a nice staple piece. They're definitely my #1 seller. And I think with that, going back to things telling a story, people really align with their zodiac signs. So people have their own meanings behind it, and they really identify with them. So that's part of why I think it does so well, but also it's like a nice statement piece. And then I have like my classic chains. Those are definitely one of my top sellers, because who doesn't love a classic minimal chain?
Yeah.
So those are kind of like my core items. Basics are always the things that will do the best. But the great thing about my business is there's no limit. So I have all the freedom in the world to create anything that I want and not feel restricted. And so I can attract all sorts of audiences. So the minimalists, the people who want something kind of quirky. So this little mushroom here is one of the things that reel people into my market setups. People love mushrooms. I love mushrooms. They're just so cute. And so, yeah, I just love that I can kind of do whatever I want with my business. I can have the minimal, and I can have the fun, weird stuff that I want to put out there because it's special to me. And depending on who comes by, there's something for everyone, which is really cool. So I have this little cowboy boot. I haven't put this online yet, but it's called the Stampeder. So I will be doing Big Valley Jamboree, that big country festival.
Awesome.
So I'll be doing 3 days of a market there at a trade show. So that's where that one's coming from. And then, these things are all inspired from things in my life. So the Evil Eye, I've done a lot of traveling through Mediterranean countries. And so the evil eye is everywhere. And the meaning behind it is great, wards off evil energy. And a lot of people connect to that. I would say this little blue evil eye, just like people gravitate to it. And I feel like they have emotional or memories attached to it. And that's why it does so well.
Do you have any, like, what was your experience in the Mediterranean learning about the evil eye?
Oh, I loved it.
Yeah?
I love traveling, and I miss the days of travel. And now that restrictions have eased up, I would love to go somewhere, but I feel too frazzled with my business to ever leave. But hopefully after summer, I'll be able to. But the evil eye was everywhere. So when I see this one, I think of Greece. I feel
that's awesome.
it was everywhere. And it was in Morocco as well. Okay, so this one I put out because this one was a really special campaign. It's called the Every Child Matters. So the cool thing about having a business is, you can really do whatever you want. You can focus your energy on whatever type of initiative you want. So I try and give back where I can. So we've done fundraisers where a portion of our sales will go towards certain things. So there was one for the Bissell Center there was an underwear drive, and we used a percentage of our earnings to purchase new underwear. And I think we bought over 350 pairs of underwear.
Oh, wow, that's amazing.
Yeah, and so this one is called the Every Child Matters. So with the National Truth and Reconciliation Day, we released this shortly before that. So as most people know, you wear orange to honor those children who were lost. And so this is kind of a play off of Orange Shirt Day. And this was kind of geared to have that recognition, not just on Orange Shirt Day. So all of the profits from this piece have been donated to the Indian Residential School Society. So we've donated $1,500 so far, but I haven't done a recent tally, but we're well over like 2,000 for sure.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's really special. People love to support the cause, and it's a beautiful piece that they can, show support to those people every day. It's not just on that day. And this one blew my mind. I didn't expect to sell as many as I did, and it's just really nice to see the community come together to support a good cause.
Definitely, and it's a beautiful way to just like open up the conversation even, spread awareness, especially for people who aren't quite there yet, right? So some people might not be like fully understanding, but maybe they're ready to learn and ask questions where they can.
Definitely. So that's that. And then this other piece here is called the Venus. So it's a little female figurine shape. And that one just is really special to me because I've met so many inspiring women in the small business industry. And, I was really afraid before I really got serious with my business of catty people, competition, and people tearing me down. And I really have not felt any of that. This community is so supportive. It doesn't feel like I'm competing with this other jewelry brand, or I just love the women that I've met, and it's really inspiring to me. And so that necklace is just kind of honoring the female form and this female energy that is so powerful. And I'm so proud of all the women in Edmonton and the world, I guess.
That's awesome. That's beautiful. It's always nice for women to come together and support each other and showcase each other because we're awesome. We're powerful.
We are.
We have so much to show and so much to offer to our communities, and that's just a beautiful way to honor us. That's awesome.
And then what else do I show you? This is my beautiful sign. This is also from a local maker in Edmonton. They're called My Little Pine Cone. So they're a husband and wife duo with a scroll saw and all these other types of machinery, and they make these beautiful signs out of wood, and I just love them. I have met so many makers that have helped my business in terms of the displays or just getting ideas from them, and it's just great. I'm just so happy to be in this world.
Yeah.
You don't really realize what's out there until you actually do it. And I never would have expected the relationships that I would have formed with these people.
That's awesome. I love that. So can you just let's just look at these beautiful hair clips over here. What brought you out into more of the hair area?
So I have really thick hair, being Vietnamese. I have lots of thick hair. So I always struggled finding clips that would hold my hair or that wouldn't hurt my head after a long day. Being a nurse with thick hair, if you have a ponytail, you have a headache.
Okay, yeah.
So claw clips are amazing. They kind of happened by accident because I have a jewelry brand, and then I was like, oh, I should introduce hair clips because I love them and they're functional and they're cute. And they have really taken off. I actually partnered up with Weekly Hair Salon. So the clips were a collaboration with that hair salon, and they really went wild in Edmonton. Women love their clips.
Love it.
So just a fun fact with the clips, they're all plastic free. They're made out of a plant-based cellulose, so they are biodegradable and eco-friendly, and they are literally unbreakable. Maybe not
they're pretty robust.
They're really strong.
Yes.
I would challenge you to step on this and see if it breaks.
No,
I promise you. No, I challenge you. It will not break.
You don't have to. TT, don't do this to me. Okay, not full weight, right? I'm just gonna
You can just step on it.
Casually, accidentally. Oh wow, that's actually quite impressive.
Okay.
Yeah, that's impressive. That's nice. That's not bad. I put a decent amount of force on there, but I wasn't trying to stomp on it. But
no, they are strong. These are something I have so much pride and joy in because they are invincible.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, the aftermath. Look at that. Still perfectly.
Still nice.
Still perfect. So yeah, the clips kind of happened by accident, but they're great. They're utility. They're cute. And they're kind of one of those investments that you're going to have forever. It's not like this fashion piece that you purchase and then it just gets lost. It's something you're going to use every day.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So I love my clips. I also have, if there are any thick-haired,
oh my gosh.
If there are any thick-haired women watching, this is the Haven XL clip, and
that is huge.
The jaws of life, and I think I've only had 3 customers now who have hair that's too thick for this.
Really?
So hit me up.
That's pretty impressive.
So yeah, this is the regular size, the classic size, which works for medium hair, most people's hair types. Mm-hmm. And then for size comparison, that is the extra large. That's the big boy.
Well, I guess for this you could double up. You could double up. Even if you did have short hair, you could double up and feel really confident that it's getting everything. Because I just started trusting the idea of putting my hair in a clip.
Yeah.
Because I just didn't understand them for a really long time. And then I got my first hair clip and I was like, this works.
Yeah.
This is better than putting my hair in a ponytail, that's for sure.
Oh yeah, you don't have breakage or flyaways after, and it just looks cute.
Yes, definitely. That's amazing. I had no idea you could make a hair accessory biodegradable.
Yeah, it's just the material that it's made out of, but it's really crazy where technology and building things have gotten to.
Yeah.
Now.
Where did you how did you find this out? What made you want to do specifically something that was biodegradable even?
Well, I try and be as eco-friendly as I can, so I try not to use any plastics or waste too much. But it's hard as a business. There's obviously going to be waste attributed with it, but having as small of an environmental footprint as possible was important to me. And then on top of it, with the durability, it was just a no-brainer.
Awesome.
So a lot of trial and error with finding the perfect clip, but they are the perfect clip. And I'm so happy I found them.
Yes, definitely. I can see that. I love that you have 2 different styles because it's a nice little boxes down, something a little bit more rounder, especially this one. I'm this matches my pearl.
Oh, amazing. And these ones were my newest clip that I released, and they make me feel really official because I have my logo embossed on them. I am a real business now.
That's beautiful.
It's official. So that was really exciting for me to release, just having these little steps, these little things that show my growth.
Yes, definitely. It's huge. Can you tell us a little bit about your earrings here? I'm loving the butterflies specifically. They're just gorgeous.
Yeah, so the butterflies are one of my most popular earrings. They're called the baby girl earring. Don't ask. It just seemed like a baby girl to me.
Yeah.
Baby girl with a U. So those were kind of, not a joke, but they were kind of like something fun to add a pop of color to my collection. And yeah, they're easily the most popular earring. The special thing is that women of all ages identify with butterflies.
Yeah.
So I have little girls who are 6 years old who want the butterflies, and I have little grannies with walkers that want the butterflies. And it's so cute.
That's so sweet.
So yeah, and you never really know with jewelry what's gonna pop. Like I have visions, and sometimes they like explode, and sometimes they're like, nah. You never really know, and the butterflies really caught me off guard because they're just, everyone loves them.
Oh, that's awesome. I see also I see a boot that could match with that boot almost.
Oh yes, so that's the baddie boot. It's like a little pink enamel boot, and that is my last pair. I was actually sold out, but I found that one in the bottom of my market box.
Oh my gosh, that's
yeah,
lucky.
those ones I brought to Calgary. I did a market in Calgary, so these ones were a hit there. I sold most of them there, so those are the baddie boot. They're very cute.
Oh, that's gorgeous.
So if anyone is going to the Stampede, also hit me up.
Truly a must. I mean, like, if you're not wearing boots on your ears, boots on your necklace, and boots on your feet, what are you doing? What are you doing? I love that. I see some really sparkly bits here because, you know, I do like the sparkle. So
The bling.
I always must. Can you tell us about some of these sparkly designs? Where do they come from, these sparkles?
Like, where did the idea of them come
Yeah,
from?
the idea.
I like sparkly things as well. I don't really have a story behind where they came from. It was kind of like, I like this thing, and
Nice.
I'm going to run with it. This one, I love snakes. So if you ever browse my website, you'll see that there's a lot of snakes.
Oh, that's so pretty.
Yeah, so snakes have just such a cool meaning, like, and they look cool.
Yeah, look at that. Maybe move them. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, most people who have those say that they kind of dance when you wear them.
Oh yeah,
So
I believe it. Cause
they're really sassy, but yeah, I just love snakes. I love their meanings, and I love how they look.
Is there a matching snake necklace by any chance?
I have snake, I don't know if I have that. Oh yeah, I have that one in a snake necklace. I don't have it here.
You could make it into a set, a
Yes.
whole set, and then put some like snake print on. I'm out here. I'm always trying to make outfits
That's actually
happen.
my astrological sign.
Oh, is it? You're a snake? Yeah, I see it.
Oh, okay. That's weird. That's cool.
These are such interesting pieces. Oh, I love that this one is also, would that be like considered evil eye? as
Yeah,
well?
it is. That one's really popular as well. The evil eye, people love. I think a lot of people have meanings attached to it, and so it's nice that they can, you know, portray those meanings that they have on their jewelry.
Yeah, definitely. I noticed some stones here as well. Does any of your jewelry involve like real, like the semi-precious stones at all?
So those ones are opal. They're all synthetic opals, so they're not natural. I don't really have any semi-precious stones, I don't think.
What's it like? What does it mean when it's?
So if it's synthetic, it's lab grown. So there's
Okay.
like consistency in how it's built. And I think there's like unethical practices with like getting real ones, but I don't really know in detail.
Yeah.
But for me, it's more consistency. So
Yes.
having the same product that I can provide over and over again, whereas a diamond ring, that would be like a one of a kind.
Yes.
I'm not at that caliber.
No, but this is great. I mean, I love that your jewelry is very accessible. I love that it still has that gold element to it as well, since they're gold plated, right?
Yeah.
And you also have gold
Gold filled.
filled as well. What's the difference between those two? Like, what does it mean for like care? wise?
So all jewelry, unless it's solid gold, requires care, unfortunately, and that's a huge struggle with my business because I get sad when things tarnish.
Yeah.
But for the price point, you kind of get what you pay for. So gold plated is a very thin layer of gold on top of a base metal. So lots of moisture, lots of sweat. Sweat is really, really acidic, so it can corrode the plating off, and then that would lead to the base metal being exposed, and then it gives you that tarnished look. And once you get to that point, there's not much you can do. You can't put the gold back on. So I like to compare gold plating and gold filled to nail polish. So gold plating is like nail polish. If you are like a really delicate female and you are very careful with your hands, they will last you longer. If you're like me, your nails will chip within 24 hours. Gold filled has a higher gold content, so up to 100 times more gold, and it's mechanically bonded into the base metal rather than just being a coating. So it tends to be more long lasting and durable. Costs a little bit more, but if you think about your cost per wear, if you're gonna wear this thing every day for a year and it's still gonna look gold, then it's worth it. Versus buying a cheap necklace or pair of earrings from, one of those big box brands that are, you buy earrings for $8, you will wear them once and they'll be tarnished. So you get what you pay for. It is a lot for people to kind of wrap their minds around at the time of purchasing. I like to find bargains. So when I see $30 and I see $80, I still look at the $30, even though I know that the $80 might take me a longer way. But I'm getting better.
No, that's awesome. I mean, like for me, I like to have a variety of jewelry. So I like to be able to pair things. I like to have sets of things. I like to match like my colors and everything like that. It's harder to do that if I'm constantly focusing on really high priced items that I probably can't afford in the first place.
Right.
But having jewelry that's something that you could very easily buy at a market at like a really nice price point, you're still getting that beautiful look, you're getting that design, you're getting the care of someone actually like putting this together for you and having like made this their business. You're getting all of that behind a piece of jewelry that you can definitely buy that day, right? And I think that's so wonderful to be able to do and to be able to like share that with people, especially with like your friends. Like it's a very easy gift. Like we love our friends, we want them to feel beautiful, so we want to be able to gift them things that we can afford to give to them. And I really appreciate having like a small business in Edmonton that's growing so rapidly and being able to offer that to my friends. So I really appreciate that you have your price point the way it is. It's wonderful.
You.
It's very worth it for sure. Yes.
Yeah, that's definitely always been part of my business model, is to be affordable and accessible. A lot of things in the beauty industry can be marked up, but I do want to have something that everyone can have. And now having the gold filled line is kind of the step up. Not everyone, can budget that into their budgets, but the option's there if they want it.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Which piece would you say was probably the most challenging that you had to do?
Ooh.
So I don't think anything is really challenging because I stepped away from like the wire wrapping, which was before my business even launched. But I had like crazy OCD with wire wrapping. Like if I didn't like the way a wire was wrapped a certain way, then that crystal would go to the side and I would try and wrap another one, but then I would have a pile of these half-finished things that never made the cut, and then I never had time to unwind them. So that was challenging. But with what it is currently, nothing is really challenging. Like I said, it's all peacemaking. So I'm not doing any heavy labor. It's really just having a vision and then bringing it to life, but it's all very technical. I would say that the Zodiac necklace has been one of my biggest challenges in the sense that the chain is gold plated. It's a piece that is very well loved, so it does see the effects of wear and tear over time, especially in the summer months when we're sweating. Most people don't realize that sweat is really acidic, so it will corrode the plating eventually. So that one's been challenging. So I do now offer a gold-filled alternative. But a lot of trial and error. Nothing's perfect. It breaks my heart when jewelry has gone sour and you can't revive it. So I'm always learning and trying to find ways to kind of prevent that, or at least educate my customers on how to care for their jewelry. Because a lot of people buy it and they're like, okay, it's gold, so I'm going to sleep, shower, exercise, do everything under the sun in it. And it's definitely like whether they know it's going to do it or not, they're still going to do it. And then the end result would be a piece of jewelry that has gone bad. So
Yeah.
that's definitely something that stresses me out.
What is your favorite piece?
That's a hard question.
I mean, they're all beautiful, very well done for sure, but there's got to be one that's like your love baby.
Well, I love the zodiac necklaces. I'm always wearing the zodiac. I really identify with.
Which one are you wearing?
I'm
right
an
now?
Aries.
Oh.
Yeah, so I just think it matches everything. It's a nice statement piece that goes with everything. It's very eye-catching. And yeah, I am an Aries. I'm impulsive, like I'm everything that an Aries is. And my husband's a Libra, and we balance each other out. And so I just love zodiac. I love that it is almost always so accurate, like to describe people who were born in those time frames. So I would say this is my favorite. But I love them all. The little boots are definitely a favorite too. They're just so cute, and the butterflies. I have a very scatterbrained mind, as you can tell. There's boots, snakes, butterflies, there's everything. So I can't really pick a favorite. I guess it depends on what I'm wearing that day.
Oh man, I was really hoping to be like, all right, this one's the best one, isn't it? No.
No, but I do, when my visions come to life, I do sometimes gasp. I'm like, oh, this is perfect.
Aww.
And sometimes they don't come to life. Sometimes I order a charm thinking I'll match it with this other thing, and it doesn't work out.
Oh.
And so sometimes they just sit on the side.
They're very excited out there, so they're doing a little bit of cheering and chanting, which is great. I do believe there's a game right now, right? No, there might not be a game, but you know what? They're very happy out there and celebrating something wonderful.
They know we're here.
They know we're here. They're celebrating us. They're waiting for us to come out so they can clap and cheer.
Do you think, and this might be a stretch, but because we're all artists here, do you think you would ever, because I saw that you had the snakes there, do you think you would ever take on the challenge of doing Chinese zodiac?
Ooh.
I mean, maybe.
That'd be
The
so
problem
cool.
with zodiac or any letters, you just need so many more materials. So with zodiac, you need 12. And then Chinese zodiac is at 12 as well. Potentially. I guess I would have to do some research. Who would identify with the Chinese zodiac? Because I think that would be a more limiting audience. And I really, at the end of the day, don't want any waste. I don't ever want to put a product out that doesn't sell.
Totally.
And that would be, it would be wasteful. So maybe. I personally don't know too much about the Chinese zodiac signs. I know I'm a rabbit, and I know my husband's a goat, but I don't know too much about it to feel the passion or the drive towards it. And I think I would have to do some research, because if my audience also was like me, then they probably wouldn't be drawn to it at all. It would be a small audience that would be drawn to it. But maybe in collaboration with someone that knew more about it, that could be something cool down the road.
That would be an amazing collaboration,
Yeah.
especially if you did that with maybe let's say an Edmonton, specifically an Edmonton local that people know. You could reach a much larger audience, and even if it was for an event of some sort, that would be absolutely gorgeous. I think that would be so cool to do have something for a cultural event even, and have that be something that people can find and choose from. I mean, Asian Heritage Month just ended. We're on to Pride Month, which is very exciting. Will you be at any events at all for Pride that you know of?
No specific Pride events, but I do have some Pride pieces coming. They're in the works. I'm just waiting for some of the pieces to arrive, but I'm a little bit late.
That's okay.
I just spent the last month moving, so it's coming, but I'll probably be late, as usual.
Can you, yeah, like, can you get like a little idea of what?
Well, there's a rainbow on it. Yes, love. I was thinking of donating a portion of the sales as well. So I was going to reach out to a few people that might know of somewhere good to donate to. So if you have any recommendations, let me know.
Definitely. If any of you at home are watching, please reach out to Tikkhu Jewelry to let Titi know what your favorite organization would be for her to be able to donate to, because that would be wonderful. We want to hear more from our audiences. Titi wants to know what you guys want to see from her, right? Because that would be good to know before she starts collaborating on things. Tell her she needs a zodiac line so we can have a zodiac line.
We're just slowly throwing it in there.
just like planting the seed of chaos a little bit there, yeah. What can you tell us, like, what specific pieces you're going to be doing? Like, is it going to be mainly necklaces, earrings?
I was going to be earrings and a necklace.
Ooh.
Yeah, so maybe there'll be a set. Like I said, I'm very free flowing. I have like a vague idea. I get the pieces. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. So we'll see. I have no idea. I actually don't know what the vision is yet. I know there's a rainbow, and I know it's going to be cute, and I know it's going to be a good cause. So that's really all that matters.
Yes. As long as like it's a great cause that's going towards something, and it's going to be perfect for Pride Month. It's going to be amazing to wear your accessories, your jewelry to like events especially. So fingers crossed that we get to see lots and lots of events in Edmonton for Pride.
Question I had for you, disembodied voice of Gabby, is how important, because you had mentioned that you have visions and you kind of see them through, how much of a learning experience was it to kind of sometimes, because I create and not everything I make is my favorite thing.
Yeah.
How important is it to kind of be merciful and kind of forgiving and just go, this isn't working, I can do something else? Or does that never happen? You're like, no, I've committed to it.
Oh no, if it doesn't work, I deconstruct it and I turn it into something else. So if it's like, say it's a charm that didn't match on an earring and no one wanted it, I would take it apart and turn it into something else. And then maybe it does better in the future. So nothing really goes to waste. If anything, some things lie dormant. But for the most part, especially now that I've gotten busier, a lot of my stuff is being used up. Like there's not as many random things, because now with all my retailers, I can kind of push little things out that I don't need to market on the internet, which is like the most time consuming part. Take a picture, name it, put it on the internet. So when there's like the one-off thing, it's kind of nice now that I can put them out to my retailers and they can sell themselves. If people identify with them, then they'll go and I don't have to worry about it. But time is really the most challenging part of having a business. So anything that can save me time and allow me to continue to be creative is really important.
Oh, okay, yeah, that's awesome. I would love to accidentally find some of your one-off pieces, because I think that's the coolest thing, is like knowing that number one, you got something that is like carefully made by a local craftsman, and number two, when it's limited edition,
That's more why you're at.
Yeah, I want to be the only one. I do like to brag sometimes when I'm the only one with something, or if it's like the last one. I think this was the last one. I'm not sure.
It might have been.
I'm not sure if I saw it on your social media at all, but I was very excited when this was the only one on the table, and I was like, I must.
Yes.
I need it.
It is a one of a kind, because pearls are one of a kind. I really love the natural pearls as well, like the imperfections to them. I love that about pearls. I'm not really one to get the perfectly rounded or polished pearls, so it is a one of a kind.
Yes. I love it, honestly. Like when I knew I was coming to see you today, I was like, there's no question about it. This is gonna be the pearl. This is what we're looking at today, for sure.
And I love that you've taken care of it, because it's been over a year,
Yes.
and she's still gold. That is the end goal.
I was very careful with it, because I've gotten used to the idea of having my jewelry on a stand of some sort, because I love seeing things displayed like this.
Yeah.
And I think it's just so beautiful. And for me, I need my stuff to be out in the open so I know what I have.
Right.
So I'll have it hanging on something so it's not laying on anything. It can't suck up any moisture from, let's say if there's a spill on my counter or anything like that. It'll stay nice and on display almost, basically. Or when I travel, I put it back in the pouch that it came in.
Amazing.
Yes.
This right here is a model customer.
Thank you.
She follows the rules and she gets the reward of a still gold piece.
Not all rules were made to be broken. just so we're all clear about that. Yes, I know what I'm doing. Yes. So I guess I want to know, where else can we find you? Like, where can we find you on social media? Do you have like a website as well that we can find you at?
Yep, so I have a website. It's www.tikkhu.com, so it's very easy. I have Instagram, so it's Tikkhu Jewelry. And I have Facebook, but I don't really know how to use Facebook anymore. So it kind of just like posts my Instagram on my Facebook. I'm not really Facebook savvy anymore. And I have TikTok, but it's really just packaging videos on there.
No, that's awesome. Like, I love seeing that kind of stuff behind the scenes. I think you should even post like how you make your jewelry, because that would be really cool.
I will. That's in the plans. I am very messy. I don't know if you've heard that creatives can be very messy.
Oh, yes.
So I am very messy. And when I have visions, it's like, I'll be in the middle of doing something and I will go back to my station and things will explode, and then it just becomes this like chaotic mess where only I know where things are. So it is in the plans to have more process videos, but my surfaces are always a little messy. And so it's a little bit tough to do it in that sense. But hopefully if I expand my space, it will allow me to be a little bit more organized. One of my friends is helping me with organizing. That's something that I'm working on 2022, is to just be more organized so that my mind can also declutter with that.
That's awesome. Yes. So thank you so much, TT, for joining us. Everyone, please, you must keep an eye out for TT's new line with Tikkhu Jewelry for the Pride Month, because like, how can you not? Anyways, this has been R from R&G in the 780. Thanks for watching, guys. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
What's up, everybody? This is Gabby from R&G in the 780. As always, I am the G in R&G. And I'm excited to be here. As you can see, there's some pieces here. Very stoked for the guests that we're having on right now. But without further ado, and without me standing around doing nothing, I want to welcome Rahmaan from Rahmaan Studios.
Hey guys.
How's it going?
Good, how are you?
Pretty good, pretty good. Excited to be here. There's an interesting story about like why we're here. Is that while kind of going through, we had like the playoff season for the Oilers. I'm not going to talk much about it because we're not going too hot. But look, while I was there, I went to some local businesses. One of the businesses I stumbled across was Soul Fried Chicken, and they had some awesome artwork. And I was like, wow, this is pretty sick. And I got to talk to the owners because Soul Fried Chicken, we're still trying to get you on this. But while talking to them, I asked them about the art pieces. And of course, they mentioned Rahmaan over here. And I was like, interesting, mental note. And then talking to one of my friends, they were like, you have to interview my buddy. He's a local artist. And lo and behold, one and the same person.
Me. Yeah.
So I was like, of course. So then we're going to do it. So Rahmaan, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, so as Gabby mentioned, my name is Rahmaan Hameed of Rahmaan Hameed Studios. So we are currently in my home studio right now. As you can see, there's a bunch of paintings near us. So what I do is I'm a professional artist and designer. I do a lot of paintings, murals, sculpture work, graphic design, illustration, marketing and branding type of work. I also do design work for the International Airport. So shout out EIA. Not sure if I can do that.
That's right. Yeah. No, we can. Don't
We're
worry.
going to do it anyways. And yeah, like I'm excited to be having this interview with you guys. Looking forward to the questions you have, Gabby. And
I have so many.
yeah, he has like maybe 3.
Yeah,
So
at best.
looking to do a deep dive. Ask me whatever you want. I am an open book.
Perfect. Excellent. One of the first questions. Why Rahmaan Studios? I know it's your name.
Yeah.
But like, why? Can you tell us what that means to those who aren't in the know? Because
Yeah.
me being an Arab myself, I know exactly what that name means. But
Yeah.
for those of us who aren't,
Yeah, so my name technically, because I'm Muslim, so my name is one of the 99 names of God, so it's a huge responsibility. I think I do a pretty decent job of being a good person, but the reason my name is in the, I guess, Rahmaan Hameed Studios is I want my brand and my personal, I guess, image and like lifestyle to be one of the same. Okay. I want people to see, when they see the artwork, like, oh, that's a Rahmaan piece instead of insert made up artist name, right? Because I just want it to be very real, very organic, so anytime I post on social media, whether it's Instagram, TikTok, whether it's a painting or a vacation of me and my family, pictures of my kids, I want it to be, this is just who he is. Like what you see is what you get. And like, I'm the same person that you're talking to here, and I'm the same person that I take, that I go out with my friends and with my family and all that. So there isn't a disconnect. It's just Rahmaan Hameed is the brand, Rahmaan Hameed is the person.
It's interesting that you like incorporate the brand and the person as one thing, because like you said, I know a few artists where it's like, their name is this, but then their brand or whatever is like kind of separate. And like, I can understand that to a degree, but I did like the fact that like, very much like, you're like, I'm Rahmaan.
Is this
Rahmaan Studios? Like, I was like, yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, I get it. One of the questions I had for you is like, when did you kind of get started in this?
That's a good question. So I've been painting and sketching my whole life. My mom taught me how to paint when I was probably 5-6 years old. So I've been doing it my whole life, but professionally I've been doing it since 2014. We actually got a pretty big break in 2014 when we went to Las Vegas for a convention. Shout out Agenda Trade Show. So it's an invite-only convention / trade show for up-and-coming fashion designers and any kind of creative designer. So me and my brother, we have our own clothing line. I'm wearing one of the pieces right here.
Oh yeah, subtle flex.
Right. Sponsorship.
Okay,
I'm not paying you guys anything.
Oh, that's great. Fantastic.
So it was an invite-only trade show, like I mentioned, and we were one of the 2 Canadian brands that were invited. So we were like, this is our, I guess, a huge opportunity to kind of like, take a leap into the U.S. market, because we've never worked in the U.S. market. We don't have clients there. It was a huge gamble. So we essentially put everything together. And we took a risk, right? As Fred VanVleet says, you have to bet on yourself, right? It's either going to work out or it's not going to work out, right? So we put all the money that we had together. We put together a bunch of t-shirts, around 300, had like maybe 50 to 70 hats, accessories. And then my brother's like, why don't we take some paintings? Because this way it'll just be different from what everyone else is doing. And our biggest thing is like, how can you be different? Whether it's with the art, with how you dress, with how you talk, with anything, right? And then, we'll take some paintings. And just from that one trip alone, we were supposed to go for 3 days. We were there for 2 weeks because we ended up extending it. So we ended up meeting Floyd Mayweather, Warren Buffett, a few people from Fox, and just like Urban Outfitters too. And Gabby, I do have pictures of everything.
Oh, okay, good. I was gonna say, I'm like, liar.
Yeah, right? My pants aren't on fire.
Ready to roll my eyes. Like, okay,
so
sure.
Everything's on my Instagram, so you guys can scroll all the way down to 2014 and you'll see it all there. But yeah, we just saw that this was a huge opportunity to really take the artwork and the creative, I guess, consulting to a whole new level with paintings, murals, and like doing live art activations and just working with large brands and companies and athletes and just really doing things that I could never imagine us doing. So 8 years later, we're still going strong. Last year was probably the biggest year of my business, which I'm very thankful for. But yeah, it's just kind of riding that momentum, right? It's like a snowball effect.
Okay, so dialing it kind of back. Ooh,
sorry about that.
No worries, all good. Dialing it back to, like you said, you began with your mom.
Yes.
It was that was where you started. Was this like, I know this is a hard question in the arts, but was this kind of always what you wanted to do, or did you have like an alternate plan, or like, because sometimes there's like a fine line between like it being a hobby you enjoy, and then when you cross it into work, you're like, ugh, right? Like, so how was that kind of journey for you? Like, was this always what you wanted to do?
I've been very lucky to have parents and like, because I'm the youngest of 3 siblings, so I'm very lucky and very blessed to have a family that always supported me. So they were never like, oh, you can't do this. You have to become a doctor. You have to become a lawyer, an engineer. Like, I love science. I do have a background in psychology. I did want to become a cosmetic surgeon, but when I saw like how the art was going, I'm like, this is what I do. This is what I do best. This is my calling. And just the support that my mom, my dad, my brother, sister, the people in our close family circle would give me, I'm like, if they have my back, if they can believe in me, then absolutely, I'm going to do it. So I'm very lucky, I'm very fortunate that I had that support. It wasn't always easy because I'm like, hey, what if this doesn't work out? What if this doesn't, pan out to anything? But then again, it goes back to what I just said. You kind of have to take that gamble. What's the worst that can happen? It doesn't work out. Okay, that's not the end of the world, right? That's not the end of life. So yeah, it's been a great ride. My family's there, every step of the way. My wife, I've been married for 5 years now, so she's been a part of this ride too. Just the support that everyone gives me, it kind of fuels me to keep going, even bigger and better than what I've done. And I am rambling, so hopefully that answers your question.
That's perfect, because I was going to say, like, that support is rare, and I don't know, it's because mom and dad are watching this, so you have to say that. But like, it's often in the fields very rare to have that. I know that when I kind of began, my parents, like, it wasn't like unsupported, but they're like, but why? And I was like, I don't know, I like it, I feel like I'm gravitating towards it. I too went into like computing sciences, but I was like, I don't know if this is for me, I don't know if I want to do this. But like, film began to become something that was like a big part of my life, and I just had to do the whole thing of like, mom, dad, I'll be real with you, like, this is what I want to do. Now they're like, they get it, they're supportive, and it's awesome. But at the time, they're like, but why? What's going on?
Why?
Like, how come you want to do this? And it was an interesting, like, and you mentioned this a few times already, like, but taking a big gamble. So like, if I were to come see you do like a speech or talk about going into the arts, is gambling on yourself your biggest takeaway, or what's the biggest takeaway?
No, I mean, I know I said gambling, like, taking that risk, but I'd say it's just having that confidence and having that belief in yourself, because my biggest thing is anytime you do things with faith, like, you can accomplish anything, right? Because if you can't have that, belief in yourself, you can't expect the rest of the world to have it. Even if they have it, but if you don't have it in yourself, then you're not going to do anything. I think the biggest thing that I see a lot of entrepreneurs, whether you're artists or anything for that matter, is they get very disheartened very quickly, but you have to keep going. Like, there's a reason why you're doing this. There's a reason why you love what you're doing. You have to, even if you have to remind yourself, hey, this is why I want to do the things that I'm doing. Then that just kind of helps you get over that hurdle, right? And like, you just have to have that belief, that confidence that I am good at what I do. Because sometimes that imposter syndrome can really creep in, but you just have to be like, no, this is where I belong. This is who I am, right?
Oh, totally. And imposter syndrome is an interesting thing, because I know, like, we always hear fake it till you make it. And then, but oftentimes that goes hand in hand with like, very much there's a lot of these games that happen where you're like, am I like a fraud? Is this what I want to do? Like,
is this actually happening?
Do I actually love this? Like, that kind of thing. I would want to ask, like, when you first began like painting your pieces and kind of creating them, what was kind of the first medium you started in? Yeah,
so I've mostly always been with acrylics. So everything that you see here in the studio is acrylic or spray paint. The reason I pick acrylic is it's just really easy to work with. It's super fast to dry. You can keep it thick, you can water it down. So for example, the Doctor Strange piece right behind you, their skin, that's all acrylic paint. I just had to water it down, make it light, make it runny, but then just keep layering it on top. But then you see the black hair, you see the bold black outlines, that's also all acrylic. So I've just been using acrylic my whole career. I've done oil paintings as well. As a kid, obviously start with watercolors, but my main go-to is acrylic and spray paints.
Okay. Is that still your favorite medium, or have you?
No, I like to experiment and dabble. So I did mention oil painting. So I've done a few projects that are more like classical inspired pieces, Renaissance, Old Masters, Romanticism, all that fun stuff. And then I also obviously do a lot of digital design work and illustration. So sometimes I'll take a physical painting that I've done and I'll recreate it on my iPad and add digital elements that you just cannot do in real life. I'll add an animation, I'll add a moving component to it, or I'll just take it to that next level that you can't really do with a paintbrush, right? So apart from my traditional medium, I do like to work with technology as well, NFTs. Right? And so yeah, I think it's good to always try to evolve your craft, your game, because you're never satisfied, but there's always room for improvement. Doesn't matter how good you are, doesn't matter how accomplished you are, there's always room to learn more.
Was there a medium that you dabbled into that you're like, maybe not for me?
Yeah, no, I think it's oil pastels. It's too dirty.
Yeah?
It's too greasy, my hands were a mess, it's just not for me.
It wasn't.
And chalk, I hate chalk.
Really?
Yeah, I hate the sound of it.
Oh, I guess, that makes sense. Like, every time you
takes me back to school.
Yeah. No, like, that's interesting, that's interesting. Okay. You had mentioned NFTs, and I think it's an interesting question because currently, in case our audience doesn't know about NFTs, they're non-fungible tokens. Depending on who you ask, they will tell you different answers. Some people will say it's a ripoff of a picture. Other people will say that you're owning individual art pieces. And the debate is very controversial. You'll have people, folks that love it, folks that are like, I don't get it, I hate it, I think it should die. Obviously, I'm betting that you land on the, I think it should be a proper.
I think there should be a good balance, because I still prefer traditional art, but with NFTs, it allows digital artists to really get true value for their work. Because up until like the last couple of years, before NFTs were a thing, a lot of digital arts we were like, okay, well, how long does a digital painting take? Probably doesn't take as long. You do it in Photoshop, blah blah blah. But NFTs have really given digital creators that opportunity to see more value for their work, the value that they deserve to see. But you can also mix it with physical art as well. Like for me, I sell a bunch of NFTs of my physical paintings, but you get the digital NFT with it. So the digital NFTs, it unlocks the opportunity to have the real painting. So if you were to buy an NFT of this Iron Man painting, you wouldn't just get the digital token, you get the real painting with it as well. So you'd be the only person that has the digital piece and the physical piece. And yeah, like you said, people can be like, well, I can take a screenshot. Yeah, you can, but that doesn't confirm proof of ownership. I can take a picture of a house. I'm not going to own that house. Or I can break into it. I'm not going to own the house. You need a deed, you need a contract, you need all that, legal stuff. So with an NFT, you can actually trace back. So if you buy this NFT from me and you sell it to your best friend and he sells it to 20 other people, you can still track it back to that original purchase, back to me, and back to the day that I created it or minted it. So that's how you can confirm legitimacy and ownership of it. And yeah, it is a digital picture, but it's also, pictures are pictures. Right?
Yeah,
people pay money for pictures too.
It's so much more, because like I have to imagine like one of the counter arguments for Team NFT, or like the argument for it, is very much like what happened with you mentioned the old masters, like the Mona Lisa's, everything during World War II. Like there's a whole conspiracy like the artwork that's up there isn't actually even the original artwork, because it was moved around, hidden, everything. Whereas with NFTs, you can, like you said, trace it to its source, its original owner. You can find out if like you have a fake, because when you mint it, you have a signature. If that signature doesn't match, then it's gone. Do you think there's any other art forms, I want to say, that you would love to get more legitimacy, kind of, I want to say, like, or are there any art forms that like we should not even call this an art form? It's got to go like,
people.
For me, miming can get lost. No, I'm just kidding. Sorry, mimes don't come after me.
People that just like, I don't know. People, I was gonna say mimes. Like I don't get it. Like it's kind of scary. I was in Paris just now. Like these mimes came up to me. I'm like, what are you trying to do? Like I just want to walk.
They're always trapped.
But
why are they
I'm
always
looking
trapped?
against them because I like Pokemon and Mr. Mime is, and
Okay.
But no, I think it still takes talent to pretend you're in a box. But I honestly I don't think an art form should go away. I think it should just be every area, every category has its own niche audience, right? Some people don't like paintings. Some people like sculpture. Some people don't like digital art. Some people like traditional art. Some people like sketches, some people don't. So I think it all depends on like who your audience is and the support that you receive from that community, which is why kind of going back to what I said about NFTs, it allows digital creators to get that recognition that they deserve. I've seen artists that I've been following for years become overnight millionaires because of NFTs, literally. So I think the arts are there for everyone. The dark arts, I guess not. We should probably get rid of the dark arts. Can't have any Wonder Max Mouse.
That's right. That's enough of those.
Yeah, right. But yeah, the arts are there for everyone. It's just you should respect one another's craft and just kind of support wherever you can. You don't have to support everything, but just don't be rude. I was gonna say something else, but yeah.
That's right. Censorship.
Yeah, censorship.
No. Okay, so then this leads into my next question, because might be a bit of a cliche that you probably get asked this quite often, but I can probably answer from looking around. But where do you get you mentioned the old masters, where do you get your inspiration?
My inspiration, pop culture. Obviously movies, comic books, superheroes, as you can see. Disney, I have a bunch of Dragon Ball Z figures off camera over there. Just pop culture, TV shows, I love all of it. I'm a huge nerd. I've always been, always will be. My wife has to deal with it and stuff like that.
Was it a deal? She was like, look, maybe I can phase him out of it.
She tried to get into it, but she falls asleep during movies. She's gonna kill me for saying this, but she fell asleep during Spider-Man No Way Home. And she woke up after, I'm not going to spoil it for anyone who hasn't seen it, but you know what I mean.
Oh, no.
But anyways, yeah, pop culture. I do love the old masters. I love classical art. I love just the rich, bold history of it. And I like combining the two. Because I have a collection that I did with a gallery in London, where it's literally classical paintings, but with my contemporary street art touch to it.
Oh.
I don't know if you've seen any of those pieces, but they are on my website, RahmaanHameedStudios.com.
That's right. Shout out,
Shameless self-promotion.
We love it. Yeah.
But yeah, no, just anything and everything. Just the bright colors, the history of it. Because looking at that Minnie Mouse painting or that Mickey Mouse painting right there.
We will be turning around to them.
Yeah,
sure,
I'm not just pointing at air.
Yeah, like, yeah, sure, whatever you want.
Like these characters, I call them generational icons because I have a different history with Mickey Mouse as my parents did and their parents. Because he's been around for almost 100 years. My kids are gonna have a different, relationship with Mickey Mouse and Iron Man and Spider-Man when they're older. So like it's the same characters, but we all have our own different reasons to like them. And that's why when I create the pieces I create, my clients can resonate with it because it might take them back to their childhood, it might take them back to a different time in their life. When they were watching these things growing up, it might just touch them on an emotional level. So not just from like a bright, colorful point of view, but I like the nostalgia of pop culture as well. Yeah.
So pop culture.
Pop culture, that's the theme. I think I like pop culture.
I like it.
Culture pop.
Diving into some of the things that you mentioned, I feel like I do have to mention this, but I feel like maybe perhaps, and if we could cut to it, but maybe not now. Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Z seem to be one of the biggest ones. To the audience that doesn't know, it is an awesome Japanese anime.
Yeah.
It's existed.
That's the lifestyle.
Yeah, it's existed
since the 80s. Yeah, it's older than us.
Yeah, speaking of like generational, the show is still going. Still going strong, and it's can you tell me why was that? Why did you gravitate towards that? Why was that important
to you? It's a hard question because it's one of the first things that I saw as a kid. I saw the action, the fighting. I'm not drawn to violence, but it's just like with me, the reason I love anime is it's the art style, the colors, the composition, the details, the environments that they use. And with Dragon Ball Z, they're flying, they're shooting energy blasts at one another, their hair changes color. And the reason I do my hair kind of like this, I've always kind of been inspired by, Gohan's hair. Hopefully I never lose my hair though.
Let me
Anyways.
tell you, as someone from the future or older, it happens, but it's...
I don't know, I just like the storytelling, I like the visuals. With me, it's always about the visuals. If I don't like what I'm looking at, it kind of sounds like common sense, but I'm just not going to resonate with it. But then with Dragon Ball Z, it opened the doors. It's like a gateway anime. It opens the door to other shows, other types of Japanese pop culture influence. Like I love Akira, I love Akira Toriyama, I love all those guys. And I think you can see bits and pieces throughout each of my works of art. So that's why I like Dragon Ball Z. It kind of opened the doors to everything else.
Odd but also interesting question because we ask those here sometimes. I was gonna say, because we're both from kind of the Asian sphere of the world, do you find that you're more drawn towards it because it was created by, of course, AAPI's Asians, or were you just drawn to it because the art itself?
It's a spicy question.
I know, I try to be a little risky here.
No, honestly, with me, I don't see color. I just see cool things.
This is gonna get edited, but yes, go on.
No, I don't care who makes it. Like whether it doesn't matter who it is. If it looks good, if I like it. So there's some animes I just don't get. There's some things that Asian creators that things that they make that I just don't understand. But with me, if it looks good, I'll rock with it. If it doesn't look good, it's just not for me. Okay. So with me, like it is kind of cool seeing it comes from a similar part of the world, like where my family's from. But it doesn't really make a difference to me because if someone from Northwest Territories makes a crazy anime about polar bears, I'll probably like it just because if it looks good.
Hey folks, welcome back. We're just having a bit of technical difficulties, but we're sorting them out hopefully. That wasn't too long of a miss. We were last talking about, oh my gosh.
I think it was what inspires me, or where I draw my motivation from.
And I was asking you why Dragon Ball Z, and then I said, is it because they're Asian and you found influence from there? And you brought up an interesting point where you said, you said I don't see color, but you said that that wasn't as important to you as the art itself?
Yeah, it's just the quality of the work, the quality of the storytelling. It doesn't matter who makes it, where it's from. If it's good, if I like it, then I'll support it. I'm not gonna be like, oh, it has to be from a certain country, geographic region. It's just, if it's good to me, you know?
No, totally. Recently, actually, someone came back from an awesome trip, and I was going to ask, like, were you inspired by various art from the places?
Yeah,
you went to?
it's good that you. I'm actually happy you asked me that question. So we went on a little bachelor weekend with for one of my friends who's getting married in July. So it's 6 of us guys. You know, just 10 days in Europe. We started in London, Amsterdam, Paris, and Barcelona. But when I went through each of those cities, they have their own stuff. So obviously, each city has their own history. They have their own like things that they're known for. But the one thing that I would see that's continuous and like common is the street art culture, the graffiti culture, the tags, the murals, the paintings, just like, you know, just out in the streets, out in the open. And I'm like, this is great because this is what I love. I saw a lot of cool things that I don't really see here. And I did definitely take away a lot of inspiration with some of the, you know, different ideas I can utilize, some of the different techniques and methods. So I saw murals as big as this. I see murals that take up full cathedral walls. Like, who paints on a cathedral? But I guess it works out, right? Paris and Barcelona are probably my favorite because there's literally graffiti. I was counting down 5 seconds. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and there's another building with graffiti. Then there's another building with graffiti. So I love that inspiration. I love that visual, just like treat that each city would present. So it was nice. Apart from like getting away, you know, having a little vacation, I kind of took away some inspiration as well.
Interesting you mentioned graffiti murals, because are you happy? Because I am always like, I enjoy seeing more of it. Like, Edmonton does have quite a few pieces that I love seeing. In fact, I got to, shout out to me, be there to film some of them, do some time lapses of them. But I have to say, many times, I feel like that's another controversial one, is that I would love to see more of that because I'm like, it's local talent, local art, and they're beautiful pieces. But too many people kind of fall and go, that's graffiti. And
see, my biggest thing, because as you can see with a lot of the pieces I do, like the backgrounds are very like graffiti inspired, like very like messy, kind of grungy, a lot of drips and splatters, and then my foregrounds are very clean, right? So and this, I mean, you can disagree with me on this if you're another artist, but my thing with graffiti versus street art is something that, like, you can put this on a wall and you can consider this street art because it's something that you can immediately understand and like kind of relate to and like see for what it is. Graffiti can kind of fall into the category of, it might just be like a random tag, or it might just be like some random letters, you know, all stylized, and they look great, but it's not really street art. It's like graffiti because that's kind of like what it's known for. But again, I'm probably gonna get crapped on a lot by a lot of people, but that's just my personal opinion. Street art is something more tangible that you can kind of see right away and relate to. Graffiti is kind of more like, it's just in the streets. It has that gritty kind of like grungy street feel to it, and I think you can always combine the two. You know, I love combining, you know, graffiti elements in my backgrounds, my foregrounds, with a lot of the drips that you see in all my pieces, and I like painting these things out in the open, you know, just kind of out in the world too, right? So there's graffiti, there's street art, and then there's the marriage of the two of them.
Because I'm always of the mindset that, like, I feel like this was a way old episode of like Aladdin, the TV show. Where, you know, they were asked, what is it that makes a society great? Yeah. And then if you had 24 hours to answer the question, or else your city was like decimated. Oh. And then the end of the show, spoiler alert, but way back in 97, was they were like the people, the culture, right? Yeah. 100%. So to me, I found it very bizarre when like the city was doing more of these murals and everything. People were like, how come we're painting on walls? And like, a lot of people saw it as destructive versus constructive.
See, I think it's constructive, and kind of goes back to the question you just posed, where it's constructive if it's something that it's nice to look at. If you have a bunch of squiggles, a bunch of random letters on the side of the building, it's not really going to make sense because there isn't a message. There isn't like an end meaning to it. Whereas if you see like a big portrait of a person's face or like a character or an animal, it's like there's a story being told there. There's a reason why they chose this image or this concept to be put on this large building. Like I know Edmonton has a huge mural scene, like especially within the last few years. They have that big mural put up on White Ave of that big fox.
That's right.
With the breast, right? It's still something you can tangibly see. It's a fox in a very abstract, surreal landscape, but it sparks a conversation. Why does it have breasts? Why is it so big? What's going on here? But it's not just a bunch of random paint splashes, right? It's that's the thing. There is constructive art, but then there's destructive art, where if you're tagging the side of a school bus, that's destructive art. But if you're painting a beautiful mural on the side of a school bus, that's gonna just be a lot better.
No, and like going back to it, I enjoyed that the city was kind of doing more of these because I was like, you're taking like hopefully local talent and local artists.
It's a mix.
Yeah, and blending it and showcasing their work. And like I said, how I found out about you was I literally went in, there was local work, and I was like, great, this is what I love to see, because it's like, and especially like, this is where I'm tying it in, especially with like the pandemic, is I love to see more like local businesses, local works, keeping things kind of local. I know that might be odd because it's like Business International, I get it, but just seeing like your work there, being impressed by it. I believe the piece I saw that I was like, oh man, it was the Gundam.
The Gundam chicken.
I was like,
Gundam chicken.
I loved it. I was like, it made sense as a blend of two things. I understood it immediately, gravitated towards it.
That's why I used pop culture, because you got it. Like, I never met you at that time, but you got the work. You understood it.
And it was important for me, like, to kind of, like I said, put it back in my head to hunt you down, to talk about this piece, to go over it. And it's very fascinating to me that, like, so many people are like, oh, murals, oh, I can't get behind it. And then I got to attend a show where I was filming in the AGA, and it was all these artists that painted murals, but they had them inside on a board, and now it was fine art.
I feel, where was my invite? I'm kidding.
Well,
I'm kidding.
It was fine. No, I'm kidding.
I'm kidding.
Yeah, but like, it was bizarre to me to kind of see that. Do you feel like there's that kind of odd, like, oh, if it's on the side of a wall, then people are like,
it can't be in a gallery.
And then like when it's in a gallery, suddenly it's like fine and fantastic.
No, see, that's why I love painting the things that I paint, because I can smack one of these paintings in a nice gold frame, put in a gallery, and it's gallery fine art.
Mm-hmm.
I can put the same Spider-Man that you can't see on the camera on
the
side of the building, and it'll be considered street art. But I still consider it. That's where you can't have that biased outlook towards it. It's going to be fine art no matter where it is, whether it's on a canvas in your home, your studio, or gallery, or on the side of a building, or if it's digital on your iPad, or if it's on your shirt. It's the same work of art. Like, if you take the Mona Lisa and you put her on the street, she's still going to be fine art, right? But if you take, I mean, even with a lot of the contemporary artists that I've seen in like Amsterdam, you take a Banksy. They literally, because I went to the Moco Gallery in Amsterdam, they took a Banksy slab of wall that he painted on, and they literally cut the wall out and they put it in a gallery. So they took street art and they put it into a fine art gallery. So there's also that opposite, right? So there's always that interchangeable, I guess, title. It's street art, it's fine art, it's both, right?
No, totally. And like,
sorry for interrupting, but you took something from the streets. That's kind of clicking with me now. You took something from the actual dirty streets and you put it into a fine gallery, right? So when people say, "Oh, you can't have both," you absolutely can have both.
Well, I almost take it back to like, you had to have started somewhere. Like, surely you didn't have the finest paints, the finest like boards, everything. Like many artists I know began at like the base level. Like, that's where you kind of start. Like, I'm very much a fan of like burning my old artwork, because I'm like, no, you get to see what I want you to see. You don't get to see my past. When I ask you, is that the same for you?
No,
or are you
with me, and I kind of get this habit from my mom, and I love that about her. She keeps everything.
Okay.
So I have a bunch of old sketches from like 2012, 2009, just kind of like collecting dust here. And like, as you can see, this is a mess right here.
Oh, wow.
And this is only one of many that I probably lost. So let's just go through a random piece of paper. And I'm gonna try to find my oldest.
I could never do this. I am very much like, you see what you see now.
But it's nice to look back and see how much you've kind of grown and like the progress you've seen. So this, where'd it go? It's right here actually. Yeah, it's actually right here. Sorry. It's this Biggie Smalls, 2011, absolutely shredded. But it's still there. It's a physical, sketch from way before I took the scene professional. I was 19 when I made this. But I want to go even further than that.
Wow.
So.
And now that I'm thinking about it,
with
you doing NFTs and stuff, like, I feel like you could sell your early
NFTs
works.
of sketches. Yeah, I'm stealing that.
And not me. I burned it.
So this is when The Dark Knight came out. Still my favorite movie to date. January 9th. No, okay, it's this Friday, January 9th, 2009. And I completed it Monday, January 12th, 2009. So this has a whole timeline to it. So at this point, this is like when I first started posting my art online on Facebook. So even till this day on my Facebook, I still have a whole album called Art from like 07 to like.
Oh, so you have it public too?
I have it public.
Man.
Everything is public.
We're nothing. Such like opposites in that regard. It's crazy. I can't even like.
Because like looking at this looks like complete, nonsense. But when I was making it, at that point, that was my best.
Like, I'm the best.
I'll probably look at that Doctor Strange painting 5 years from now. And I'm like, yeah, that was nothing compared to what I can do now. But that's the beauty of the growth. Even with you and your video work, you can probably see videos that you made before, and you're like, yeah, I could. What was I thinking?
Yeah. Well, no, I can't because they're burned. But yes,
you burn videos. Yeah. Nice.
I'm just like, never again. Yeah. Don't put my name on it.
Take the laptop.
Take it away. Yeah, like I want people to believe I just like was conceived into greatness and never tried anything. No, it was very much like so much of my early work, and I feel like this was important to art is that you had people who supported you. And I feel like so many times when you begin that artist journey, everyone's like, everything you're doing is amazing. I love it.
But what's your job? What's your career?
Yeah. And then but my thing was like, they always gassed me up and I loved them for it until I was like getting actual critique from colleagues and everything. And I was like, wait a minute. I'm not like perfect. I have room to grow and everything. And that's why looking back at it, I feel like I was like, did you guys actually enjoy this? Or were you doing the artist like, this is great. I love this piece. Yeah, it's so good. And I don't know, I feel like now I look back on it, like some people are like, I love this. I'm like, I don't know if I believe you. So I think that's why I'm like, I keep so much of that work like to myself or like burn it or whatever. And now with the work I present, now they're able to tell me like, I like this better. I did this, but I'm like, I believe it more.
I think at the same time, whether you're first starting out or you're well established, you should never do the work for others. Always just do it for yourself, right? Because if you're doing the work for others, you're not creating for yourself. You're not creating for that same passion that you have. And sometimes I find myself in that little loop. I always say, I have to make a painting that people like. But I'm like, I'm not trying to sound like cocky or anything, but whatever I make, people will probably like it, just because you can resonate with my work pretty well.
Interesting. So this is going back to self-confidence.
Yeah, it's like you have to have that level of confidence, but you also have to remind yourself why you're doing it. Like you're doing it for yourself, and if people like it, they'll like it. If they don't, you can't please everyone, right? If you fall into that habit of doing it to please others, or I guess anything in your career, just doing it to please others, are you living it? Are you living your life, or are you living their life, right? Are you doing it for them or for yourself? Deep.
Interesting. Right? Yeah, much deep too. Well, yeah, I guess that's very very valid and fair, and that's a good. It's a good takeaway because I feel like too many times it's like I feel like I would have
impressed people.
Well, yeah, and it's like, and that's true. Is you're like, am I doing this for me? Is it and you have those challenges, but like, I'm glad to say that now the things I do are things I enjoy. I feel like when I began, it was like.
But that's all part of the process too. It's all learning opportunity. You're seeing, okay, what works for me, what works for everything else, and how can I just do what I do best, right?
Okay. Yeah. I like that. So speaking of previous works and works that we've done, I have to ask you.
That was smooth.
Yeah, that's right.
That was very smooth.
What was your most difficult piece to date?
Yeah, I told you before the interview started. It's in this room.
Oh, okay.
So it's actually that Space Jam piece right there.
Oh, really? Can we?
Yeah, I can. Or you can even just move that piece out of the way. And
here's where I like rip through it and destroy it
then
on here. Yeah.
That's gonna define you.
Yeah. Tell us what for this, I promise. Oh, okay.
No, you're good. So this piece, I made it last June when Space Jam, the reboot came out.
What did you think of the reboot?
Let's not talk about that.
Oh, I see you loved it, yeah.
Yeah. So this piece, the reason it was challenging, it's not because of the size, because I've done pieces that are 5 feet all the time. It's just, I don't know, it was my first time kind of painting LeBron James in full detail.
Was it hard not painting Michael Jordan?
I was going to do a Michael Jordan piece, but then I got lazy, to be honest with you. But yeah, it's just making sure that his proportion, like the skin tone kind of matched with like the reference photo I used. Yeah. And then making sure that there's that contrast between the realism in his skin and then the cartoony flat colors and Bugs, Taz, everyone else. And as you can probably see right here, I changed the background twice on here. So this is a completely different background. I didn't like it because I didn't really have a space feel to it. And my wife, who I love for critiquing my work, she's very honest. She's very blunt with me. If she doesn't like something, she'll be like, nah, this can be better. I'm like, okay, cool, thanks. It hurts my feelings only a little bit, but you know. Thanks.
But like, going back to that, how important? Because I feel like that's why
honesty is a huge thing.
I had a lot of yes men or yes people in my life, and then when I first began to get critiques, I was like, you're actually helping me improve my work.
Yeah, because you have to be open to constructive criticism. There's a difference if someone's trying to be rude or trying to be like, you know, but you have to be, you know, open to it, because you might not be doing something, you know, you might be doing something wrong that you just don't see, right? Like, you always need that outside third party perspective. But anyway, so I changed the background again, made it black, splattered some paint on here, gave it some, you know, little nebulas and galaxies. So this kind of fit more with the space theme. But in the you know, spirit of keeping the past in here, I kept a little bit of the background, like the original background, as like an outline. So it's kind of like a 2-for-1 deal. But yeah, this was my most challenging piece, just because of this, you know, the detail, making sure I was satisfied with it, because, you know, I wanted to be very space jammy.
Okay.
Not just, you know, the obvious characters, but like the background elements as well. And this is probably still one of my favorite pieces today.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is the one.
It's not mine. It's already been purchased. But so you have to
I'm already touched. Oh
extra
no, yeah.
careful.
Okay, cool.
I'm
now,
kidding,
thank you
you're
for terrifying me, because
You're
this
fine.
is like, I'm getting my oils all over the.
Actually, no, I lied. My most precious piece that I like are the soul fried chicken murals.
What?
Yeah, they're pretty recent, but I love them.
Thank you for bringing that up. Now that I have no point of reference to show for it on the live stream, that's fantastic. By the way, for scale, I am 5'9", 5'10" on the day. So this is quite
Big.
a big piece. Hey,
Yeah.
as you can see, it's completely covering me.
Yeah.
So you would say this isn't your favorite piece, but it was the soul fried chicken
This
piece?
is the second. This is number 2, but this is my most challenging, even more so than those big murals.
Which is your most favorite piece?
The favorite.
Yeah, that's right. I'm asking tough questions.
Is it
I'm gonna
here?
just slowly move this away from me.
Okay.
Because
the
I am a
favorite-
klutz. I don't know if you know this, but so,
I can't. Yeah, that's fine. You can just lean it back up. You're good.
okay.
My most favorite piece, I'd say it's a toss-up between Doctor Strange and Wanda, which is right behind you.
Again, I'm gonna.
Yeah, you're good. You're good. Yeah. It's just a.
So this was the piece we were talking about earlier.
Yeah, because this came out. I mean, I painted this the day before Multiverse of Madness came out, and again, this one was also kind of challenging because of the whole warped mixed skin, like how their faces are kind of warping into one another, and like because his skin tone is so slightly different than her skin tone, but then making sure that they kind of blend in the middle. But yeah, this was kind of. I'm terrible with lips, but I think I'm getting better at them. So Wanda has, you know, a nice, you know, lip gloss thingy going on. Anyways, yeah.
What did you think of the movie?
I thought it was good.
Yeah.
I think they just rushed the ending, but that's just my opinion.
That's valid.
But so yeah, it's a toss up between this piece and this Mickey Mouse right here. This black and white Mickey Mouse, and the reason being, I'll get out of your way, is because I made that piece in just under 2 minutes.
What?
Yeah.
Whoa.
And it's also on my Instagram. So I did this talent competition for Serge Ibaka of the. Now he's on the LA Clippers. Sorry, Milwaukee Bucks.
Oh.
Back when he's on the Raptors, he had this.
a little bit of some name drops there. Yeah.
He had this little talent competition on his Instagram live. So he's like, "You only have 2 minutes. What can you do?" I'm like, "I've never painted in 2 minutes, but I can try." So I painted that Mickey Mouse in 2 minutes.
And was it? Because we've done like, this is interesting. We've done a 24-hour like film challenge before, and let me tell you, like, I was like, I don't think I can do this, but doing something that you think you're very good at in such a short amount of time really like ups. Like, did you learn a lot from doing so, or was it
I
like
practiced 2 days before my audition.
cheater?
So,
No, just kidding, yeah.
So when I did this, because the guest judge was Danny Green of
Okay.
the Philadelphia 76ers. So at that time, they were both on the Raptors, right? But then obviously they got traded and he signed.
Let's maybe skip that part.
No, shout out to Danny Green. He's one of my clients too. He has a couple of my paintings. I love that guy. But he was a guest judge. When he saw this, he's like, yeah, this is great. Like, I think this is awesome. The fact that he did it in 2 minutes. And I was really surprised because if you look at the ears, there are still some white areas that I did not have a chance to cover. But it kind of just adds to the look of it. You know, it's not perfect. If you really look closely, there are imperfections, but that's just the quickest I've ever made a painting. And again, it's something I never did before. But again, it's always nice to just challenge yourself, right?
Would you do it again?
I would.
Oh,
Yeah.
in a heartbeat.
Yeah,
That question.
in a heartbeat.
Answered very quickly. Okay.
In an
okay.
heartbeat.
In a heartbeat. Oh,
Yeah.
I like it. I like it.
But yeah.
Okay. And then I was going to transition into, and this is again very self-explanatory and obvious. What's the latest piece you're working on? And behold, you were literally working on this.
My hands
as I-
are still covered in paint.
as I walked in.
So this is actually a recreation of another piece I made back in 2019
Okay.
when Avengers Endgame came out.
Mm-hmm.
So that one sold. So I liked it so much I just wanted to remake it again. And I don't ever often do that unless I really like the piece and I want it for myself. Or if a client really just likes, they just want the painting made again.
Okay.
But even then, like, it's not gonna be an exact one of one. There's gonna be details that are like completely different that'll still make this, a one of one in its own way.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so the paint is still kind of shiny and wet in certain areas, but this is the most recent piece as of like 2 hours ago.
Well, let's put you on the spot.
Yeah.
Which one of the two is your favorite?
Probably this one, just because it's more recent and I can see all the details.
Yeah, so your first time customer,
Right?
come back, yeah. It's now a 2 of 2.
It's better the second time.
That's right. Okay, with pieces like this,
Mhm.
are you often commissioned or do you create for yourself and you're like, you buy what I make? kind of
It's
thing?
literally the perfect balance of both.
Okay.
Right? So the Rengoku, the Iron Man, the Doctor Strange, all just my own ideas. The Spider-Man, all my own ideas. Even the Space Jam. Like my client just said, I want a Space Jam piece, but he's like, I trust you, just do your thing. I'm
And you
like,
decided to give him the Space Jam to the original? How could
exactly,
you?
because he wanted it for this movie.
Okay,
So,
no worries.
anyways, yeah, it's just a mix of both. Like people just like what I make and they'll buy it, and that's just the easiest way to do it. It's already made. Or they'll be like, hey, can we do a commission? And they just give me the gist of the idea.
Okay.
And then, because I always do like a concept and like, seeing what works, seeing what doesn't phase. I send them a couple of concepts, see what they like. And then, apart from that, they're just pretty much they say, yeah, just do your thing.
Okay.
We trust you, but here's just what the vision is, but just kind of do it in your own way, right? Which is really cool because it kind of gives you that creative freedom to do it your way, right? But yeah, so to answer your question, it's both.
Do you have a preference? Would you rather
It's the techniques and methods same for both, so I don't really care.
Okay.
Yeah, and because I mean, the pieces that I make, if I'm making that Space Jam, I probably would have ended up making it anyways for myself, or just because I wanted to. But I just happen to have a commission come for it instead,
Mhm.
right? So I like both, like equally.
Okay, and how long, like that one you said 2 minutes, you gave me time for Mickey Mouse. But how long does the commission typically take?
So that guy right there, the Space Jam, that took me about 5 days.
Okay.
This took me in total probably 5 hours. And I recently did a live painting event in Calgary for a Tech Expo, plug and play, shout out to you guys, where I made a Connor McDavid and Johnny Gaudreau. Yes, yeah, I care so much about the Flames, I don't even know the player's name.
Yeah.
The painting of both of them kind of going head to head, and then a painting of the plug and play logo. So I did 2 paintings, same size, 4 feet, on this exact same easel in about 7 hours.
Oh wow.
But each painting alone, if I were to just do it at home, would probably take like 6-7 hours each. So I can condense my time into, if I'm doing an event, I can do it in like an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours. Or if I'm taking my time at home, I can take the full 5, 6, 7, 8 hours. But the biggest thing that I like to maintain is the quality is still the same, whether it's done in 2 minutes, 3 hours, or 5 hours, or 10 hours,
Okay.
or
So
5 days.
so is 5 days the longest it's taken,
Mhm.
or less
No,
than the?
I'd say the longest is probably the soul fried chicken murals,
Really?
especially the Gundam chicken, the big one, because it's the biggest in size of obviously like how much wall space it takes up, and it's the tallest. So that one took me 2 days just for that guy. But then the tiger mural, which I think you saw, the samurai tiger, that one took me 3 days just because there's so much more detail in it. So it's smaller, but there's more detail in it, so that's why it still took a bit longer. So that whole project took me about a week,
Oh wow.
maybe just over a week, like 8 days.
Yeah.
But I think that's so kind of fast. I'm not sure.
No, it's interesting because I not to sit here and compare pieces, but if you folks want to go pop by a soul fried chicken, check out their artwork.
Also,
It's awesome.
speaking of soul fried chicken, another artist buddy of mine, Alexandra Jade, she did that big giant mural of Seoul, South Korea.
Yes.
Just like on that big feature wall, so go check it out too. It's not just my work in there; it's also hers, and she painted on 2 of those pillars as well.
Yeah.
You probably saw those, right?
I was gonna
Yeah.
say okay.
Yeah.
That's a great, but I've also had one of the pieces I got to film was if you folks ever go kind of downtown Edmonton,
Yeah.
there's a giant, I believe it's the Mickey Mouse hands that spell
Oh
the
yeah.
word
OG
Edmonton.
Slick.
Yeah.
I know the
So-
artists who did that.
I got to do that, and that took a hot minute. I think it was just over a week because like the orange background took a day.
Yeah.
Then like the layers of it just
Everything
like,
else just comes out.
yeah, it's
It's kind of like the flow state concept. Like
Mhm.
once you get into that rhythm, like with me, I don't eat or drink or take any breaks when I paint. Like I'd rather just get it all done with. If I can just get it all done with in one go,
Mhm.
I can go for like 5-6 hours without taking any breaks.
And how often is the wifey upset with you?
She doesn't care because we have a set schedule. Not in that sense.
Don't say it like
If
that.
he dies, he
Doesn't
dies.
care.
All right, cool. Yeah.
But like we have a set schedule. Like once the girls are asleep around 7, we hang out, we watch your movies and shows, and then because in the evenings I will just do my work, right?
Mhm.
Like I'll do it on the weekends. So she knows it's not just a hobby, it's a business too. So like obviously like it's one of my primary sources of income. So she's like, yeah, do what you need to do, right? But yeah, I can paint for like 5-6 hours without taking breaks and completely losing track of time.
Mhm.
But that's the beauty of it. So that's exactly what probably happened with OG Slick when he's making those Edmonton Mickey Mouse hands. He probably like, yeah, I'm just gonna bang it out. And
Yeah.
once you get into that flow, there's nothing that can get in the way.
No, and he was very much like they had to order him food.
Yeah.
It was a sunny day, so
It's
everyone
hot.
was like, "Please step into the shade."
Yeah.
And he was like,
Even the soul fried chicken murals that probably would have taken on average like 2 weeks to make.
"Wow."
Yeah, but I'm like, I just want to get it done. Because
Whatever.
with me, I get lazy. So if I don't get a piece done, if it's just sitting there, I'm like, yeah, I'll get around to it eventually. I'll get around to it next week. But then next week turns into 3 months. So
Because I was gonna say, from one artist to another, there are days I wake up and I'm like, all I want to do is create. Then there are days I wake up and I'm like, get away from me. I want nothing to do with
well,
my
I
work.
think that's
Like,
good because you also don't want to burn yourself out physically and creatively. Because if you're constantly which is good. Anytime I walk into the space, I'm inspired.
Mhm.
If I'm just out there watching TV, I'm like, yeah, I want to go paint. So I'll just come here, look at my cards, look at everything else. I'm inspired.
Mhm.
But the days where I don't want to, I'm not going to force it because if it's not there that day, it's just not there that day. And you also need to like just rest, recollect yourself, recollect your thoughts, and just sometimes if you approach with a fresh pair of eyes, a rested pair of eyes, then it's even better. So yeah, you don't want to burn yourself out creatively, physically, mentally, because what's the point then, right?
Yeah, I can't. That's one of the things I always kind of attempt to share, or like, because I'm ever asked, like, I know your biggest takeaway was like, they gamble on yourself, believe in yourself. Mine's always like, take the time to kind of like rest. I feel like too many folks have this whole like, if I'm not creating, I'm doing nothing.
I was
Like,
gonna
and it's this
say,
endless trap of like,
I have to be busy.
I have to be busy, yeah.
If I'm not busy, I'm not being productive. If I'm not being productive, I'm being lazy. I'm not successful. It's kind of like a chain reaction. It's like no one cares.
Yeah.
Relax, take it easy. No one sees all the behind the scenes. Everyone, just like social media works, everyone sees what you want them to see, right? So take a couple of days if you need to rest, relax. Because if you're forcing it at that point, then the results are not going to be good.
Mhm.
If I'm forcing a painting, and I've seen it firsthand. If I'm forcing a painting or a sketch or a digital piece, it's not going to be the same as if I'm just doing my thing. So if you need to take a day to just kind of like reset, you need to reset.
no, it's interesting you say that, because another piece I would say is like, your love comes through in the work that you do. So for me, if the set is very whack, everyone's upset, PO just
gonna
like
show in the
yeah,
product.
exactly.
Yeah.
And I say this a lot, and everyone's like, nah, but like there's so many movies that were done where like they rushed things. I'm like, sure, but think about like that crew is never gonna come back. Those people aren't gonna come work again, because who wants that environment where it's like,
even if it turned out great, it's like, do you want to do that again? Right?
no, it's like that. And then coming back to social media,
Yeah.
how big a role does social media actually play in your
It's
business?
my biggest tool.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't just use it to flex, but it's definitely my biggest tool because it's where I get pretty much all my main clients from, like the celebrities and athletes that I work with. They see my work, I tag them in it, they like it, they'll reach out, so on and so forth. With social media, like I mentioned earlier, like you don't have to live in like LA or Toronto or New York to work with people in those cities or to kind of like be in that city. You can just be working in Edmonton or Calgary or like anywhere. As long as you have that internet connection, then you're good to go, because again, like it's the biggest tool you can possibly use to grow your business, to grow your brand, and to just connect with people in a way that you could never connect before.
Okay. So what would you say to aspiring kind of artists if they're like, I hate social media, I'm not gonna do it, forget it?
Well,
that
most
kind of
people hate
shame
social
for
media because of the whole notion of the fakeness of it, which is true, it's there. But if you're creating your own social media content, right? You're not creating fake stuff, right? So if you're creating for yourself, if you're creating for your own brand, if you're putting content out that you support and that you can get behind, you'll be just fine. And with social media, like the more you, I'm not saying post rapidly, but like the more often and frequently you post, the more I guess you'll stay relevant within that, that little bubble. And if you want certain people to see your work, collect your work, that's the best way. You're not going to go through their managers. You're not going to go through a thread, chain of emails. You're not going to send them a care package in the mail. Send them a DM. Tag them in your picture. Tag them in your post. Comment on their stuff, because you have to be active. You have to be engaging, and then one thing might lead to another. Might lead to another. Might lead to another. So yeah, it can be a snowball effect for in a good way, and in a bad way. It just depends on how you want to do it.
No, totally. So then I have to ask this: who have you worked with from kind of like the social medias? The names that you can draw.
Names that I think I can draw most of them. Okay. Most recently, Connor McDavid.
How was that?
Great. He's an amazing guy. When I met him, I gave him one of my Batman paintings based off the new Batman movie. So that was actually March 31st, so kind of recently. Super nice guy. Like when you meet him, you don't think it's like the greatest hockey player on the planet. Like it feels like you're talking to one of your boys. Super laid back. He's a humble guy, really nice. I recently did a bunch of jackets with his partner Lauren Kyle. 22 jackets for all the players' wives and girlfriends. So yeah, there's Connor, there's the Oilers. I've done projects with Kevin Lowe for his retirement, for Glenn Sather, the Toronto Raptors, Fred VanVleet. We have contacts with DeMar DeRozan, even though he's on the Bulls now, which is fine. Danny Green, like I mentioned, he has 2 paintings, a Pink Panther and a Scarface, and we also make custom jackets with the artwork on the inside lining, because he is very fashion forward. Floyd Mayweather, like I mentioned, Sony Music. The list can go on. I still want to keep talking.
Hey, look, if you want to get in, look at who he's worked with.
Again, but it was never an overnight success kind of story. It's been yearly. Connor McDavid took 7 years almost, pretty much since he's been in the league, because the connection that I got with the Oilers, I can't name drop him, but he introduced us back in 2015 when I first did that Glenn Sather project, like the big painting of all the players at the dinner table. So that's when we met Connor in his rookie season. He was out with an injury, he wasn't playing, but I didn't actually work with him directly until now, a couple months ago, so almost 7 years. So sometimes, like I said earlier, hard work will always pay off. It might not be right away, but it will always pay off. It doesn't go unnoticed. So you just have to be patient, and these things will come to you.
Well,
and you can't be a show off either. You can't let it get to your head.
It's valid. I feel like, but then there's the other end of it that I'll argue. You also can't always think you haven't, because there's such a perception of I haven't made it.
No, you have to acknowledge your wins. You have to acknowledge your successes, but you have to also stay very grounded, because as quick as those can come, they can go just as fast, right? So you have to be very thankful, grateful for everything you have, but you can't become look at who I work with, I'm better than you. It's acknowledge what you're doing, but keep moving forward, right?
Okay. So I was gonna say, these are the folks you've worked with. Yes. Who are some that you were kind of?
I want to work with The Rock.
The Rock?
Because it's funny, because it's kind of I can't really disclose this right now, but I kind of will.
Oh.
So I'll be working on a summer collection with Warner Brothers and DC Comics for
exclusive first. Okay.
Swimwear. It kind of is a first. Only you guys and my wife know this.
Now the world.
Yeah. Don't sue me. But yeah, so that's gonna be next summer, summer 2023. So it's actually with the lifestyle page called Tango Hotel Collection on Instagram.
Okay.
So yeah, we've been talking back and forth for a few months. We finally got the green light to kind of start working on concepts. And with Black Adam coming out soon.
I was gonna say, is it for Black Adam?
That's one way to kind of lead into that. We're saying if I can get him a custom jacket or a custom painting, because The Rock and Ryan Reynolds
are the two,
because I love both of them. I love their sense of humor, what they bring to the camera. I got Drake a painting last year.
Oh, nice.
Another Batman painting. I think Batman's his favorite character. Working on something to get to the weekend, French Montana. But the biggest ones I want to do right away, probably The Rock and Ryan Reynolds.
That's on your
on my hit list.
Yeah. I want to call it the target list.
My maximum effort list.
That's right. Okay.
Yeah.
And then one that I wanted to touch on, because I kind of touched on it, but not really, is when you said that 2014 you officially became a business and it went from hobby to business. Typically I found with folks that jump from it's my hobby to my business, doesn't pan out because they're like, I hate doing this for work because now it's just deadlines.
Then it becomes like work, right?
Yeah.
But then that's when you have to sometimes take a step back and just kind of like remind yourself, like, hey, this isn't work. This is what you love. This is, because that's the biggest thing. People are like, oh, I'm trading in a 9 to 5 for a 24-hour business, right? But your business becomes more demanding than your 9 to 5 because your 9 to 5 is set 9 to 5, right? Because right now I can be working with you guys. I have dinner plans after, but then I can have like another commission come in at like 10 at night that I have to start and say, oh, I can't really just rest and relax. But I think when you can just kind of mentally understand that this is what you love and it's good to be this busy because this is what you want to do, right? You want to keep growing. Then you just have to also find that work-life balance too. Like you can't just always be on the clock. You can't always be working because you're going to drain yourself and you're going to burn yourself out. And because that's the biggest issue with people with work, right? Where it's like, oh shit, I'm so drained, I don't want to do this anymore, right? So you don't want that with the things you love, right? Because then that takes away from other things in your personal life, your family, your friends. So I'm talking a lot. So I think the biggest thing is, with me at least, is I've had those moments from my fridge. I don't want to like paint because I just don't want to do the work. You know, I'm being tired. I'm lazy. I'm tired. That's when you just say take a day, take 2 days, just kind of rest, relax, remind yourself like, hey, this is what you love. There's a reason why you're doing what you're doing, and there's a reason why you're at the stage that you're at because you have to put in the work.
No, 100%.
But yeah, I think that the summary here, and again I'm rambling, is just you have to find those moments to rest and just remind yourself and reflect, right? And then I think you should be fine.
And was this, and I don't ever want to bring it up because now I don't know what we're in. And I always say, like, this bizarre post-pandemic is still here, is still not.
Is it post?
Like, I don't know, like it's
monkeypox.
Yeah. Yay. But not yay. How important was that? Like, I know that many businesses we spoke to were very impacted by the pandemic. Of course, we had like the ones that was very unfortunate when they were impacted by it, they had to close up.
Yeah.
And some that like attempted to push through. That concept that you talk about, where like kind of take a break, breathe, be kind to yourself, balance work and life. Was that like a good important takeaway that helped you navigate through the pandemic?
It's funny because I surprisingly saw a spike in sales during the pandemic because when I look back on it, I'm like, hey, it kind of makes sense because people are working from home. So they want to spruce up their home office. They want artwork, they want paintings, they want murals, they want something fun and creative to have in their background. So I kind of found the opposite. My business kind of benefited, and I hate to say it, from the pandemic. But then I also found that because we had our first daughter March 24th, 2020, so literally right when everything was getting shut down, like the hospitals were empty, no one was allowed to visit. It allowed me to spend more time at home with my family and to really just be like, okay, now I have more of a reason to be doing the things that I'm doing. It's not just for me anymore, it's for my wife, it's for my kid. Now we have another kid, so it's for them, right? So I have to also find that balance where I'm not burning myself out because of the work, because they still need me more than anything else, right? But yeah, I think the pandemic allowed me to kind of just like slow it down, spend more time with family, and just kind of like reflect a lot more. Like, okay, this is what I'm doing, this is how I'm gonna do it, and this is how I'm gonna do it where I'm not completely draining myself or killing myself over it. So I had time to kind of like reflect and have like I guess like an action plan, right? It's like, these are my priorities now, but this is how I'm gonna make sure that everything's done smooth.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, I like that because like it's interesting you said that because some businesses said the same thing. They were like, unfortunately, I don't want to like accredit a pandemic, but like they saw an uptick, because one of the ones that we interviewed was like a restaurant, Sheesh Shawarma, right? Like,
oh, nice, I like that place.
He definitely saw an uptick in more people wanting food. Like, and he said the same thing. He's like, it's almost embarrassing or like shameful to say that like, thanks to a pandemic, I saw an uptick in things like that.
It feels weird to even like think that. It's like, you have to, but like that's just sometimes a silver lining in some of these moments, right? But yeah, shout out Sheesh Shawarma.
I don't want to like throw in, but like many businesses like saw that uptick. I think you're 100% correct, and like because you had to be home, of course people want to spruce up everything, so they hit you up.
Yeah, because like, what was your reaction when you walked into this room for the first time?
I loved, and I knew. I don't think there was one piece that I like was like seen. I don't know, like not so much hadn't seen, like didn't know what it was from. Like anything from the Green Goblin there.
Yeah, that I still need to finish.
Which I actually thought you were done with it and it's just black and white. But that's interesting.
No, it's my daughter took a red crayon and just went to town. So now I definitely have to color him up.
Oh no!
But you know what? A gray background would be nice. Anyways, we're getting off topic.
Yeah, no, like totally, like and like so many of the pieces in here, and I wish my partner in crime here hadn't stepped out to go to the bathroom real quick, because I would love to pan around and point out certain things. I feel like now I'm like, and there's a golden thing here, and there's like from the Spider-Man, like one of the most interesting pieces that kind of stuck out to me.
Yeah.
And I was going to ask you only because I know that like certain Arabic elements come into my work.
Yeah.
You know exactly what piece I'm talking about.
But it's behind the
He's
camera,
like,
so we can't show you guys.
He's honed in.
Yeah.
Rekha, please, if we can get you to double time the. We're just gonna pan to that painting there.
Yeah, right there.
Yeah,
Thank you so much.
Sweet. Sorry to rush your
No.
bathroom time.
No, it's all good.
And I wanted to ask you about it. What did the niqab piece mean?
Yeah, so the niqab piece, I made this back when because I love fashion. Mm-hmm. So I did this when the Virgil Abloh Nike collection dropped, like the off-white collection, like this like $5,000 pairs of Air Jordans. Yeah. So that's why you see the quotation marks around niqab. That's like the stylization he would use for off-white. Mm-hmm. So I don't know, I just wanted to like do something different from like the typical superhero like anime or pop culture. I'm like, hey, let's do something kind of more cultural, like more religious, but like with a contemporary twist. Right, so it's like, what if Virgil Abloh made a painting of a woman in a niqab? It's very minimalistic. It's just black and white, bold, sans serif text, Helvetica. Shout out to Helvetica.
One time.
Yeah,
we need that shout out.
And then just like a bright blue random color in the background, just kind of make the foreground pop more. So I'm like, you don't see this type of work often. You don't see like Middle Eastern Middle Eastern traditions mixed with contemporary art. At least not in North America. You probably see it over there, but I figured let's just try something new. As you can see on the left side, under the N, I completely damaged it. But you know what? That just makes it more unique. Yeah. Because I was moving and
that was a creative addition.
Yeah.
That's what we say.
It's supposed to be like that.
And then before we lock that in, can you tell me about the piece beside it?
Yeah, so the Spider-Man reuse sketch, the most random. Actually, no, Marvel versus Capcom. That's where I got the inspiration from. So I made this. What's the date on there? 2000. Oh my gosh, 11. So 11 years. Almost exactly like that's June 9th. Wow, almost exactly 11 years ago.
We're very
So I sketched that, and then my mom, just being the amazing woman she is, she's like, "I'm gonna frame this for you." I'm like, "Why?" She's like, "This is your first. Like, I want this to be your first framed work of art, and hold on to it just so you can remember it." I'm like, it makes sense because now you have my Spider-Man painting from 2022 hanging right above it. So it's like you can see like the progression, the change in style, going from pencil on paper to paint on canvas, right? So it's nice to have these things as a little reminder.
No, and it's like the differences, and I hope you can see it too. Like what it's.
But they're also different styles completely, right?
100%.
One's a traditional black and white sketch, one's a full painting, contemporary work of art. But that's the beauty of why you shouldn't burn all your old stuff.
Well, look, I wish someone had stopped me and everything, but like I said, that's why I did what I did. Now I keep everything, but it's like it's nice to see because it also helps you kind of develop like I have improved because with the arts, there's no one there to tell you there's never I want to say, and maybe you'll attest to this, no one is checking off or giving you what are those called reviews.
Yeah,
it's like you're never sitting down in front of your manager your sales have been good.
It's not just that because you're never satisfied. I mean, you are satisfied, but you can always be better. Like I know I love that Doctor Strange painting, but I'm like I could have made something a bit better, but that's just it's a constant growing process. But that's the beauty of it. Like did Kobe Bryant stop after he won his first championship? No. Did LeBron stop? No, right? Like they kept working because he knew I can be better than better, right? Yeah.
And where is it important for you to go from like you said the Doctor Strange piece? Did you have to sit down and go, look, I've done all I can do any more?
I almost didn't do the painting.
Oh, okay.
Just because of the face, like how in the middle, it kind of blends. But I'm like, this is gonna be a nice challenge.
Okay.
It's gonna be a nice challenge to kind of get that warped, distorted, because it kind of fits the theme of the movie, like multiple, it's the multiverse, right? So multiple realities, distorted interpretations of the same characters. So I'm like, I have to do it. So then I did it, and the movie came out. Then I'm like, yeah, I'm glad I did it.
Okay.
Yeah.
But I was gonna say to that is, are there ever times when you'll paint something like, because I know like the perfectionism kicks in, but you have to be like, hey, I'm realistic. Like I don't have 3 weeks to keep doing the same tiny touch-ups until I'm happy.
That's the Space Jam. So I did that with the background. So I made that initial background and I was done with it. I posted it online. So as soon as I post it online, it's done. Cemented, good to go. But then 2 days later, I'm like, no, I'm not feeling it. I'm not satisfied with it. You know, I know I'm tired of working on the painting, but I have to make it right. I have to, you know, it's not going to sit well with me. So then I changed the background and people loved it. Like, yeah, it's so much better. I'm like, thank you. Thank you for...
It's the endless kind of like, you want to improve it.
You're your biggest critic.
Yeah.
But I think that's a good thing.
No, it's always good to have too.
Yeah.
I mean, because if you're like, I'm the best, but I don't think you'll ever learn from that.
No, people don't like an arrogant, cocky, you know, person like that either. A little bit, maybe. But
I was gonna say like, there's a lot of filmmakers that fall under that, and people love their work. So I'm like, I don't know if that's completely true. But please don't be.
Yeah, no one's perfect either. Even if you are perfect, you can be better than perfect. Ooh, put that on a shirt.
Look at that. Yes, that's the next actual.
Yeah, that's the next one.
So I was gonna say, you've told us what piece you're working on. You've briefly touched on. Are there going to be more releases, or where can we get more of these awesome?
You can get this exact sweater on my website.
Okay.
Just for RahmaanHameedStudios.com. Just go into the shop hoodie section, and this exact piece will be there.
Can you give us?
Yeah, I'll do a full runaway.
Yes. Oh yeah.
360. So this is actually based off of one of my paintings. Same size as that LeBron James in real life, and Connor McDavid actually has this piece.
Oh.
Yeah, so it's called Drilled in Color version 2. Again, it's nothing in particular. It's not like a specific character. It's not, a specific. I'll show you guys again. It's not like a superhero or anything. It's just an abstract female portrait, part of a series that I've made 3 pieces in so far. So I have 2 more coming up.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just it's a nice change of pace.
I see that your signature is up there. Isn't that right?
I believe so.
Or am I totally blind?
I think you might be wrong. But I'll give you the benefit.
Wonderful. Yes, we'll take the benefit of the doubt. Speaking of pieces you have, I would be remiss if I didn't grab one of them.
Yeah.
Can you talk about this piece?
So this is a Kid Goku on a flying Nimbus, inspired by Basquiat's crown, Cause, with the the character, the companion that he has, and obviously Japanese anime. So I did a complete rework of this classic character, made them all black with the neon outlines, colors that you would never associate with the color or with the character, like a blue flying Nimbus when he's just yellow. I inverted the image, and then that's pretty much all I did. So yeah, this is a digital illustration that I made back in 2016. So these are prints that I have left over from an event I did last year, and I want you guys to have one of them.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah.
And because I always love to put people on the spot, can you sign it live?
Absolutely. So
and I'll be judging what you say.
Yeah, so
just if you could put...
It's already signed on the back.
No, do it in the front. No,
I'll do it on the front.
And if you could say greatest interview ever, Gabby was amazing. Tell us, hire him again. 5 stars out of 5.
Thanks,
like
Gabby. Greatest. My writing is trash. Interview.
Oh.
Nice.
Ever.
There was no pressure there to do that.
So you have 2 signatures. One from when I originally made these. So this is number 4 of 10, by the way.
Oh.
And I think I'm gonna hook your camera person.
My wonderful camera but right here.
I'll have your name on yours too, so you guys don't have to.
No, it also has to say greatest interview Gabby ever.
Yeah.
As well,
Okay. So Gabby.
Yeah, put Gabby's name on that.
Okay. Cool.
That's how it works here.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's the Gabby show.
That's right.
Kidding.
It's G&G in the 780, really. No, but I think I'd like to wrap this up and have the now non-shameless promotion part of everything. Where can we find you? What are you working on?
Yeah, so you can find me on social media at Rahmaan Hameed Studios. So I don't know if I want to spell it. It's a bit too long, but...
No, do it because...
Okay, RAHMAANHAMEED Studios. So Instagram, TikTok. I don't use Twitter that much, but if you want to follow me on Twitter, go ahead. You can find me on RahmaanHameedStudios.com. That's my online shop /portfolio. You can contact me through there. You can shop buy all of these paintings if you want to. They're not that expensive. They actually, you might get kicked out of your house if you do. Yeah, so you can find me there. I'm working on a few projects for some private clients, some NFT projects, and I hate to say that, but yeah, NFT projects. One is for, I can't really say who it is, but it's for a former MLB player. So more like the collection is done. We're waiting to release it probably later this month. So once that's done, I'll have all the information on my socials. And yeah, I just wrapped up this Iron Man painting for a client, and I have dinner at 5:00. So
are you like, sorry, can clients reach out to you for an NFT collection?
Absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah, that's exactly how this one came about. So if you want to reach out to me to buy an NFT I've already made, you can go on my OpenSea page, which is just linked to my Instagram bio. If you have like a project that you want to create from scratch with me, absolutely.
Perfect. And then clothing wise, is that the same business?
Same. Yeah, it's just
like,
it's
we
just
can reach out to you and be like,
yeah.
I want a jacket and I want your art
yeah,
style.
exactly. So whether you want like on my website, you have a whole contact form, so you can reach out for paintings, hoodies, custom jackets. If you want me to paint on your house, you paint on your car, which I have before.
Actually, that's awesome.
Painted on a Maserati.
Maserati. Wow, what was
What?
that like? Hold on. Okay, hold on. We're gonna touch on this.
Sure. This is 2015, so this is right before I did my first solo show. So one of my clients, he had a piano black, super shiny Maserati Quattroporte, however you pronounce it. So he's like, I want you to do something. I want you to like wrap it. I'm like, I'll do you one better. Why don't we wrap it in white, like matte white, and why don't I paint on it? Because anyone can do a wrap. Who can paint on a car? So again, that's on my Instagram, it's on my website too, but you're gonna have to scroll quite a ways back. So we painted the car. It took me about 2-3 days back continuously to paint it, front to back, hood, everything. So there's a Pokeball on there, there's a Goku on there, there's a Mickey Mouse. You know that Banksy piece where he's storing that bouquet of flowers, but it's Mickey Mouse instead. So yeah, when the car was done, I'm like, hey, we can't just post this online. We have to reveal it in a cool way. He's like, why don't we do an art show at my condo in downtown, right in front of Grant McEwen? I'm like,
Nice.
Done. So I can tell you the timeline. So the car was done. It was clear coated on Sunday. Monday we started the initial plans for the art show. Friday was the art show. Was the solo like gallery show. So we had about 30 paintings. We had McLarens, Lamborghinis, all the cars you can think of lined up in front of this guy's place. We had the Maserati front and center, and it was just brilliant. It was great.
And how was that not the hardest? Like, I imagine that was so difficult to do.
I think you're right. That was probably the hardest thing I worked on, just because
this interview was a complete lie.
But like I never painted on a car, and cars are not flat. They have their curves, they have their angles, and with an Italian car like that, there's a lot of curves. So you have to make sure that your paintbrush is just like, because I hold my breath when I'm painting a straight line or like a perfect curve, just because I'm not shaking my head or anything. But yeah, that was a hard project. It was a fun project. It was a great project. It got me a lot of cool opportunities. That show made me realize that everyone kind of knows each other in the city if you know each other, right? It's a very small circle, but if you're in that circle, you'll know one another, right?
It's not about what you know, but who you know.
That's it, and who knows you.
Oh,
right.
You
can say you know a lot of people, but they might not know you in return, right? But it's who knows you back. So that was a fun project. So. Yeah, if you want me to paint on your supercar.
Yeah, that's sorry. I wanted to wrap it up, but I couldn't let that go because I'm like, what? You painted on a car? Like, when is this?
And then recently I painted on my client's Lamborghini bumper. So, but he just has that hanging in his office. It's an extra bumper he had. So.
Oh wow!
Shout out to Horizon Motorsports.
With that, would you have to say that's the most expensive canvas you've worked on, technically?
I'd say probably the Maserati because I painted the whole car.
Wow.
So that whole car is probably worth more than that one bumper, even though that bumper is like $4,000.
Yeah.
The car is probably like obviously more than that, but those two probably the most expensive canvases I painted on, probably.
Wow, that's amazing. Yeah. Rahmaan, this has been awesome.
Thank you, Gabby. It's a pleasure.
The best time ever. There's so much artwork that I know I didn't go over, but we'd be here all day. Someone has dinner plans.
Yeah.
But I appreciate you taking the time to do so. Hopefully this was as enlightening to you guys as it was to me. I know that we talked a lot about like being artists and being in the space, but it's important to kind of share the realism because as we stated and we began the interview, Rahmaan's very about his brand and being who he is. So even in the pre-interviews, he talked about this. So it was important for me to kind of bring that out and share that with you folks because it's important to know that it's not just a business. There's a human being behind it. what they think, what their thoughts are, and their inputs are. And hopefully, if you're
This is really deep.
an aspiring artist, you took a lot from this. And if you're not, you understood the process and the amount of work and talent that goes into it. Buy some of his pieces. No, like,
And if you hate me, then I hate you too. It's okay.
wow.
I'm kidding.
I want to end this on a positive note. It's slowly going downhill.
No,
so like,
no,
I'm gonna
we're
quickly
good.
like cut. Yeah, like
This is great.
But if you do spot some of his pieces, be sure to tag him and tell him how awesome you think they are. Like I said, so fried chicken is one. EIA, there's a whole bunch. So
Brown's Craft House on 129th, I think.
So-
the Rec Room, Self Common. There's a few places.
and tag him. Like I said, he's super personable, awesome dude.
Yeah.
He's just been a peach to be through. But as always, this has been Gabby, the G, and RNG in the 780, and we'll catch you folks next time.